We should be. There we go. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody from all around the world, hello, welcome to the hottest show in all the globe, right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. The Worshipper with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Let's make some noise, everybody. Let's get excited wherever you are. We're back, we're here, and we are live on this Friday afternoon, covering the world of boxing and beyond with a whole host of topics and discussion that we need to delve into and talk about today, specifically the biggest of which, not just with the championship rounds, but the news that Shakur Stevenson has signed with Zuffa Boxing. That's one of the biggest names in all of combat sports, one of the top 10 most abundant stars and pound for pound talents in the globe today, is now signed with the opposition, with the enemy, has now been put under the wing of Dana White himself, and has gone the way of essentially the aggressor by going to the enemy of the boxing state and signing with Zuffa Boxing in an unprecedented move to shake up the landscape of an already reestablished boxing world. We're going to talk about all that with you. Honestly, might just be for the whole of this show. We're getting, it's still the championship rounds, to be clear, for those of you that are tuning in. Hi, how you doing? It's me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch, once again. And just if you didn't know, we do this every Friday on the week, the championship rounds of this show, where the entire show is driven by you, the viewing and listening public. Put your comments and your questions, your debates, your chats in the chat section down below. We want to hear from you, and you can control the ebb and flow of wherever we go on this show. You help to drive the discourse of conversation. We still have points to discuss. We still have objectives that we're going to cover, sure, but we can turn on a dime with you all controlling the flow by saying what you want to talk about for the entirety of however long we are on for today's episode. Most likely everybody's gonna be wanting to discuss Shakur and Zuffa. Cause I'm not gonna lie, that's the most pressing matter that we have to discuss with today. So before we get into that, let me do the quick rundown of the rest of my intro. Hey, how you doing? We appreciate you joining in on the Welch Report on this afternoon. If you would be so kind, leave a like on the video, as one like makes a world of difference to help grow this channel to the masses all across the globe. And if you would, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Come on. Join the empire, be a part of the hottest show on the globe, and join on this community, on this conglomerate, on this monolith of a channel that we're going to grow and absolutely wreak havoc on the rest of the sports media landscape. All with you and your support, we can help make this thing the biggest case of absolute incredible community imaginable all throughout the airways and social media. Hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube. And you can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify, you name it. We are there. And if we're not there, tell us. We will get there. Absolutely no questions about it. And please do the two most important things on this show, which is number one, if you can monetarily support the channel, we have Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, as well as super chats, super gifts, stickers, and the like, all for you to be able to go and support us and help us grow and continue to not just help me pay some bills, but also help us to edify the show and make it bigger, better, and stronger for your viewing and listening pleasure. And the other thing that you need to do is share the show with everybody that you know, so we can keep on building up this empire together and helping and let the masses know everything that we got going on right here on the Welch Report. With all that being said, we got a whole bunch of stuff to cover in a small amount of time to do it, and we got some big news with Shakur that we got to delve into, as well as your own thoughts and opinions on everything involving the boxing and sports landscape. So without further ado, it's time to talk boxing, it's time to talk sports, it's time to step into the ring, and it's time for the championship rounds of this edition of the Welch Report, as we're on a Friday leading into the weekend. We appreciate you all being here, and we hope that you all are enjoying our show so far. But even though we're just getting started, Ryan Grace, what's up with you? Salute to you. How you doing? We appreciate you on our show joining in. Shakur and Shannon Sharp, we're getting into it as well. Look, man, we getting into it in everything, because again, there's a big, everybody has something to say about this news, because it's the biggest news that we've had this year thus far of everything, because this has been something that we've been looking into and leaning into for an abundance of time. Who's going to be the first to jump ship and take a chance in this top 10 level of boxing? Who's going to be the man to finally dip their toe into the unknown of Zuffa? And we thought it would be Devin Haney that would publicly make the initiative to sign first. At least in a sentiment of, we got the deal, this is the promotion, this is the full-on rolling out of the red carpet. But no, if everything is Shakur, who took the leap and has now gone into the ranks of signing with Zuffa and is officially a Zuffa fighter against all odds of proposition. And I'm telling you right now, it's a shock to the system. It has everybody all up in arms, and everybody, whether it's Shannon Sharp, whether it's any form of boxer or pundit, but it's huge. It's major. It's big. Massive. Absolutely ridiculous. And this is, when I say that this was so unexpected, it was because, one, I didn't think he would be the first one to do it. Two, when we were looking at Shakur, this was supposed to be, maybe a 1 or 2 fight deal. Apparently, this deal is a multi-year deal that Shakur has signed to stay with Zuffa Boxing. And this is incredibly important, because not only is Shakur signing with Zuffa a big deal, and not only is the multi-year deal a huge sentiment, the other end of the spectrum is the fact that Shakur Stevenson, with this signing, did this right after we just got confirmation the PBC agreed to make a full-blown deal with DAZN. subsequently meaning all four of the major proponents of the boxing world, top ranked DAZN, top ranked match on PBC, and essentially I forget who the fourth brother is, but I want to say Matchroom is the fourth guy, but all of them are under the same umbrella of one hierarchy with Devin Haney, with Gervonta Tank Davis, who again is, I don't know if he is or is not on the PBC, but for the sake of argument, we'll say he is. David Benavidez, Canelo Alvarez, every single big-time fighter, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, it doesn't matter who, doesn't matter where, everybody is under the one banner of DAZN. And after that, then we get Shakur now jumping and going to Zuffa, who, whether it's Benavidez or other fighters that have spoken out against Zuffa, they don't want anything to do with him. So whenever we thought that we were going to get finally the easiest opportunity to make all the fights that we wanted to happen in the blink of an eye, now this is as if he's bucking against the system in many people's eyes. Now, again, we want to hear from you whether or not that's how you feel. But just know that's one of the bigger stipulations of this move. And it's an interesting thing as to why he would make this move. And we're going to play it and you use clips and do all that stuff. But let me see what you all got to say. Like what Frankie say, Frankie, welcome back. How you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you joining in on our show. Thank you for coming back on our live stream. We hope you're enjoying the show. We appreciate you coming through with us on today. What's up to you and everybody else in the chat? Let me see, other than Hitchens and the other 135, 140 guys, or other than Hitchens, what other 135 to 140 guys signed with Zuffa? Nobody that we care about. That's the issue. That's the biggest problem. And I say problem from a fan perspective. We got to understand, with Shakur signing with Zuffa, the biggest thing about this is he probably got a crazy bag. For it to be a multi-year deal, not just a maybe one or two fight deal, he probably got a crazy bag. Numbers that we don't know, but are probably going to be, more than just life-changing. It's going to make it probably feels like, and I hate to use this, but it's what everybody's going to be using, A-side level money that he's always felt that he deserved. Coming off the back of the Teofimo Lopez fight, now he's getting paid of the caliber of what should be a top 10 level fighter, which I'm not mad at from that perspective. It's just the other side of the equation. Now it is everybody else that is on the other end of the spectrum. And it could potentially be the same situation that we saw with Jai Apataya. Jai signed, I'm not saying, with Jai's mentality while he was talking, it wasn't necessarily about the money, though he was getting a bag. It was about he wanted to get the championship because he kept getting ducked by Zerto and other fighters to unify the championship. Now, he went through, signed, but then Benavidez beat Zerto, and Benavidez, his fine with fighting him, but he don't want nothing to do with Dana White. Don't want nothing to do with the Super Belt. And IBF stripped him. And so now he lost the opportunity to get the fight that he wanted because he thought he was making the right move. With Shakur, we got to say, is this going to fall into that same trap? Or at least ask that question. Could it fall into that same situation where Shakur Stevenson signing with Zuffa can lead to a problematic situation where, yeah, you get the money. Absolutely. But now it is literally the entirety of boxing against you because you're signed with the one person that is not with us. This is coming from a band of promotions, Top Rank, Matchroom, PBC, all of them. A Golden Boy, that was the fourth one, Golden Boy. Everybody hated each other. And all of a sudden now they're actively working together. The enemies to enemies is absolutely great. Enemies to friends can be convoluted. But one thing about enemies to friends, when y'all band together, brother, they might not like each other, but if as long as we can keep this going, we ain't gonna leave right now. We'll stand together against somebody else that tries to do against what we want to do. And that's where I'm scared we're gonna see Shakur, even though he's gonna get a big bag. Hitchens' fight at this point in time may be the biggest fight he can get, unless somebody else wants to jump ship. And I don't know if that's going to be the case right now. And even with Devin Haney, the rumor of the $100 million deal or so on, we want to assume, yeah, that's most likely Zuffa. Dare I say, what if it's not? Then all of a sudden, working with each other, well, let's say he signed with the PBC for that much money, or he signed with the Matchroom for that much money, or something similar. If, because again, we don't know exactly who is giving out said stuff. It's a whole bunch of questions that we have to ask about, because it's a huge potential issue. Let me see. I wonder how many fights per year. If it's for the fights per year, I would assume it's probably two fights per year. But because it's a multi-year deal, it could be straight up in total roughly 6 fights. Because think about it similar to, and what if it's the amount of money pushing potentially close to the $100 million marker, not on the dot, but we're gonna I'll say roughly in that vicinity. It will probably be built like the deal that we had when we saw Canelo sign with Turkey Al Sheikh in the ring, where it was $200 million, but it was what, 5 fights, and subsequently I think that contract is still going on right now, and he's in the last. Who was it? It was William Skull. It was Terrence Crawford. I think that's 2 of the fights, and he's still got 3 fights left on that contract that he has to fight next. Assuming he fights 2 fights a year, it would be, I think, 1 fight this year, 2 fights next year. 2027 would be the end of it, roughly. With still, I'm assuming, Turkey Al Sheikh is still wanting with that contract Benavidez as one of those fights, if not the last fight on Canelo's contract under him. Which at least that's what he made it out to be when he made the deal in the first place. But I think it's going to be about roughly 5 or 6 fights at minimum, if we're going by 2 fights a year. If it's more than that, that's Shakur wanting just to stay busy and do more. But it most likely be like that. Let me see. Who's the next likely opponent for Shakur? Alan Chavez, Jadir Herrera, El Rayo? See, and that's the question. That's the question. Who would it be? And since it's with Zuffa and their stockpile of talent isn't necessarily that high, they're now just willing to work with other people. El Rayo would be the most logical thing to happen next. Mind you, I said El Rayo. Well, I think we talked about El Rayo fighting, who was it? Somebody else. But we talked about El Rayo versus Shakur yesterday. I cannot remember. If we did, we jumped the gun. I thought it wouldn't happen as the most immediate fight due to the fact that El Rayo for Shakur, obsolete. No, I think we were talking about Lomachenko with El Rayo fighting at 135 with El Rayo coming back down. That was with Lomachenko. But with Shakur, that might be exactly what we can get. That might be the most likely fight that we see Shakur get next under the current banner of in-house talent that Zuffa has at their disposal. Because if we are still struggling to see them go and fight with other, to see them go and make deals with other people outside of the Zuffa banner. So it's going to have to be, for now, all in-house work. Unless somebody just wants to go and break that mold. So El Rayo probably is going to be the best dude. Herrera, I don't think Shakur would fight him strictly because for the star power that Shakur is and the level that Shakur is at, and though Herrera is an incredibly exciting and dangerous fighter, I don't think Herrera's gotten to that point that Shakur is going to look at him as, yeah, I want you and you're worth my time. If we're going by how Shakur goes about his own business as a fighter, most likely El Rayo will probably be the most likely of situations. He knocked out De Los Santos, the same brother who for a number of years was the one that everybody held over Shakur's head. You sucked against him. Are you really that good? Let me right that wrong. Go back down to 135. Beat up El Rayo, who knocked out the guy that gave me all this proposed problems. And now, boom, you know exactly what I'm about. All sins are covered. We are well and good. Now we can go about my business, still reigning and defending and fighting other fighters. That's what we could see. And then afterwards, Shakur versus Hitchens could be the situation. Even though I think Hitchens might be, if I remember correctly, a couple of months ago, he said he wanted to move up to 147. I think because he dropped the belt at 140, or rather he dropped the belt at 140 because he had the IBF championship before he got stripped. Or was it 135? One of those two. He moved up somewhere. And he dropped the belt somewhere when he signed with Zuffa. It's one of those two reasons. Just know that's what's going on. That's still a name that's in the head. But let me see exactly what Shakur had to say in regards to his conversations about him getting this opportunity to sign and fight with Zuffa, because we had some quotes we wanted to play with Shakur in regards to all of this conversation. Let me see. Alan Chavez got so much better since I last seen him 2 years ago. And no, he has. He absolutely has. But we're still dealing with a star who has control and who wants to fight the biggest names out there per his own words. And I respect Alan Chavez absolutely. We're just talking about fighters right now. And this is a struggle with the Zuffa moniker of talent. Most of those people do not fit that bill that Shakur says he wants to fight it. Why do I say that? Let me play this clip of exactly what Shakur was talking about when he talks about what he can do now that he's under the Zuffa banner and signed with Zuffa Boxing with Dana White, as we're going in and transitioning over into picture-in-picture to let you see what exactly Shakur has to say. Just trying to make sure everything is looking clean and crisp. We want to make sure everything is not overly blown out so we don't get no buffer. But here we go. Shakur talk about his deal with Dana White and discussing what opportunities this opens up for his career.
Shit, this is just life changing, so I enjoy it. Like, I'm the best fighter on their roster, as I told them when I seen them. And there's gonna be a lot of big things with this. I feel like it's gonna be setting an example, and a lot of people gonna follow my lead, and I'm gonna enjoy that. Just understand this, with this new deal, I can make any fight that I want in the sport of boxing. There's not no restrictions, it's not no, I can't fight this guy. Boxing is not the same no more. Boxing is a lot different, so the critics gotta get past thinking in the old mindset. What the new mindset is, the best fighting the best, and I'm all for it, and I think Zuffa is all for it too, so let's do it. Shit, this is just like.
Now, very interesting because this conversation, Zuffa's open to fight, or for Shakur to fight anybody and everybody. They want him to fight the best of the best. That's fine in theory. We just know in practice, that was not what their initial thing was. And be clear, this is still their MO when talking about Zuffa as a whole. Yeah, they may want to capitulate. They may, and for the sake of, hey, we got to move and make stuff shake. Sure, they don't want to work with other promotions. That is still Dana White's MO. That's where the biggest struggle comes into play. They do not want to work with other promotions at their real core. But they're capitulating because they see it as a need. But I guarantee you, it's not going to be just simple and easy. It ain't. It is not. And eventually it's going to, now or later, that same thorn that they want to get pulled out their side where we are self-reliant, it's going to pop up again. It's going to. And that's what I'm scared of with Shakur, that it might be a bad situation that he's going to get up. I can't make these fights. Yeah, sure, Zuffa's let me go through, and I can try to make fights with anybody. That's fine, but the others now, in that, again, Punnett square is not the right word, but in that conglomerate that the zone is now able to hoard, there might not let that happen or make it incredibly difficult. Let me see. The sport of boxing should have been a promotional thing. Should have never been a promotional thing. And that's why people talk about the leagues. I think even Showbiz the Adult, who's a prominent podcaster in boxing, talked about a league in boxing. Teddy Atlas talked about he wanted one regime over the sport to make it so that we don't have to deal with all this side of the street talk. It's just we can make the fight. Because just like the NBA, everybody's under one banner, but there is still freedom to be your own fighter and your own person, even while under the banner of a league. That, in theory, is the best thing that can happen. It's just in practice, there's so many players at play, and there can still be corruption depending on who owns that league. That's why with Dana wanting this league, I'm scared for that. Because knowing how he operates in business, that can be a problem. But on the whole, it's just untrustworthiness all around. But the biggest thing that you just have to understand is Shakur's right. We're in a different day. We're in a different time. We're in a different mode of fight life, which has opened up opportunities many people never thought would be possible. Sure, there can be some good to that, but the uncertainty is most likely going to lead to potentially a whole lot of drama, and that's where the stuff can get concerning. Let me see. Actually, it might be Ben versus Shakur. Now, see, that's where we can get some interesting fight analysis. That's where stuff can start to shake up. Because Conor Ben, now, see, here's the problem, though. Conor Ben, I think his last fight, what was the last one? The last fight Conor Ben was in was at 168, correct? What was it? He fought Conor Ben twice. Yeah, he fought Conor Ben. Excuse me, not 168. That was against Eubanks. It was at Regis Progress. What was the weight? Was it 147? What was the weight class? If somebody can help me while I'm looking it up. Did he fight Regis Progress at 140? It was at 148. 148? 148? Was it a catch weight? Conor Ben weighed 149.5 at... Oh, wait, excuse me. I'm sorry. He fought Regis 154. Weighed in at 149. Okay, excuse me. So it was a catch weight at 148 and ballooned up to 149. So I don't know. So that would mean Shakur would have to move up. And again, Ryan Grace, thank you. We appreciate the help. I was trying to make sure I had my stuff correct. I appreciate it. That would mean that Shakur would have to move up to 147, or we would have to have a catch weight at maybe 144, still sticking with what Shakur said he wanted to have Devin Haney fight at, where Conor Ben cuts even more weight, and Shakur got to get up to not 147, but close to it. Is that possible? Is that feasible? Would Shakur want that to happen? Because he's got the ability to make whatever fights he wants. And this is the biggest fighter on his promotion. As we know, anybody who signs with this much power has the capacity to be able to operate unlike others under the same promotion. We saw it with Canelo. We saw it with Errol Spence Jr. We saw it with Tank Davis. We saw it with Tyson Fury. The rules for thee and not for me when you get to a certain level under any given promotion. You can go and do stuff that others just can't do because they're not you. Shakur is now under this promotion in Zuffa. He's got that level of power. And so we can straight up say, I can fight Conor Ben, sure, but you're going to have to come down to 140 straight up and strain yourself. Or 144. I'm not going to 147 yet, and you can't make me because you're not big enough. Though you are signed with the second biggest contract that I know of under Zuffa. So what the world? Do what you're supposed to do and come down and fight me. Because guess what? You have I'm your biggest fight. I'm the biggest option. This is the best in-house opportunity you can get. I hold all the cards because I can do what I want. That can be a legitimate thing. Let me see. 150. I'm in a catch weight. 150. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Also, Love King. I missed your chat earlier. What's going on with you? How you doing? We appreciate you joining in on our live stream today. And thank you so much for showing up and showing out with us. Let me see. I'm interested to see how this will all play out. And like I said, I am as well, because we're dealing with a point in time. There was a bunch of stuff with Shakur that had us really concerned of where this all was going to land. There was a lot of talk and then a lot of silence. There was a lot of movement. Stuff can shake up. Stuff can't shake up. Specifically with Shakur Stevenson in regards to this fight with Devin Haney. The whole thing was Devin signing with Zuffa, or would have signed with Zuffa, and the Keyshawn Davis fight, or the Keyshawn and Shakur fight, where just the two fights need to happen. And it was Shakur that wasn't putting pen to paper, per Bill Haney's own words. But now he signed with if Devin Haney signs with Zuffa as well, and we come out and see, oh, that's going down. Again, because we don't know. If we see in the future, maybe in the next month or so, Devin Haney, Keyshawn Davis, they gets agreed upon, but it's under the banner of Zuffa also, it's going to have people asking questions of why in the world didn't Shakur just sign the deal with Zuffa if you were already going to be under the same promotion together. The only situation, if that does occur, would be because Shakur wanted his own separate deal to be his own separate man, and then he could then go through and negotiate with Devin Haney under a different landscape of terms. I'm not a part of a deal for somebody else. I'm a separate deal entirely. That when I go into negotiation with Devin Haney, if this fight does take place under Zuffa, I bring a whole new different level of leverage. And because I was the first to take a chance publicly at this level in the game, I'm bringing championships unified into this division. And because I'm the first, I might be able to have some leverage and loyalty with Zuffa to force stuff to go my way that, hey, if I waited, maybe it wouldn't have happened. Again, I'm just thinking out loud about all these situations as to why stuff would have occurred. But this is just huge. Shakur signing with Zuffa is a monumental move. And it's something that's going to change. It is going to change the landscape of boxing as we know it thus far. I guarantee you will. Let me see. I don't know. Even my Donna, who wasn't better than Broner or Mayweather, beat one and almost beat the other. I mean, that's true, and I believe this is in reference to a talking point earlier. Rolly versus Teofimo Lopez. Who wins? Look, I didn't even get to that because we were talking about Zuffa so much. But in this fight, shoot, it probably. I'm picking Teo. I am picking Teo to beat Rolly, specifically because. Well, hold on. Let me backtrack. If we see, or if we can recall, somebody remind me, did Teo leave his father as a trainer to go train with somebody else? I remember me saying, I think it was him that left. And if he did that, perfect. If he didn't, there's a problem. You say nope, where there might be a problem. Hey, we might have some trouble. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. We got some problems here. Because Rolly's a better fighter than we had seen in the past. Absolutely. But T.O., even with his dad being the one training him, I've always thought he's been leagues better than Rolly Romero. I don't think it's ever been close in anybody's mind over the course of their entire career, even after he beat Ryan Garcia. I don't think that's changing right now in my sentiments, just because we saw Shakur beat up on Teofimo Lopez. Rolly Romero was not Shakur, or he's not Lomachenko. He's not anybody with respect to his own talent, which has gotten better, that we've seen Teofimo face off against before. So I think we should be fine. I think we should be fine with T.O. winning. Probably by unanimous decision. Don't be surprised if it gets close and it's a split decision. And if Rolly is indeed improving like we're seeing, my gosh, if he does get this upset, we're gonna have to start we're gonna really have to have some real conversations about Rolly Romero. We will, if he does beat this by, but I'm picking T.O. to win this fight from the jump by unanimous decision. I don't think it's gonna knock him out, but I do think he should be able to outbox him. I do think he should be able to use the offense that wasn't able to work against Shakur. It is going to work against Rolly, almost assuredly. He's a taller brother, he's a longer brother, and when he's had those same advantages, we've seen how he's been able to box in that mid-range and even long-range area and be just fine. Especially if it gets found out, hey, I'm actually physically more stronger than you, so I can afford to dig and do some real shots. And I'm elusive enough that, yeah, I can get out the way. I can take these risks and chances, even though Rolly got power, and be just fine. And T.O.'s on mine, because again, you're not Shakur. So I think we should be okay with T.O. winning. At least to me. Rolly can definitely knock him out. He can. He's got enough SWAT to put some scare into T.O. Absolutely. I just don't think he's gonna be able to touch him. I don't think he's gonna be able to touch him, but or at least consistently enough. But it's gonna be an interesting fight, none the less. And I'm excited. I am excited to see it, in all honesty. But real quick, back to the Shakur conversation, because this is important. Really, it is important. What I said about Shakur and Zuffa is what was a telling sign of potentially the future. Because in the past I said, if Zuffa gets one of these two names, Devin Haney or Shakur Stevenson, any of those two go and jump ship to make that move, this changes everything about the leverage and ability of Zuffa to be taken seriously in the world of boxing as we know it. Even if the public, or specifically the promoters, don't want that to happen. And right now, we're living in that reality. This is a major deal, because now this is the exact dangerous situation that all Dana White wanted, was for a chance to say, I got one of you. One of you. Albertalia was good. Counterbid, hey, exciting, sure. But anybody within that top 10 pound for pound, if I can nab him from you and turn to the other side, all of a sudden, everything that you do now is going to be under a microscope for other promotions. Because for the guy that everybody's looking up to, like with Shakur, who's one of the 10 best in the globe, that we've heard other boxers say, yeah, he's one of the people that I try to follow. That guy saw something, this was worth the risk. And if he's moving like that, I guarantee you, people that are either trying to get to Shakur's level, trying to fight Shakur directly, or outright look at Shakur as how he moves, I want to follow, because of friendships, because of sparring relationships or otherwise, guess what? If he makes this decision, there's something over there that I'm not seeing. Which means, if anybody over here, Golden Boy, Top Rank, PBC, a Matchroom, they mess up what I'm trying to do, I'm jumping over. Ben Whitaker just had a big fight on the boots in his Zayas car. If it gets to a point where all of a sudden I believe he's on the Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, if that relationship starts to go sour, guess what? Dana can pluck him right up. If we see that take place. With how volatile we've seen Keyshawn Davis, with the way that he wants to move and shake up and go to fight everybody under the sun, which, hey, credit to him. If he feels that the only way I can get these fights in or be done right for my stardom is to go over there, and we see, I think, I forget who we signed with, but I want to say Top Rank, but I'm not exactly sure. We see that messing up, guess what? He jumping over. Especially since Shakur, his blood brother, is going over there as well. He's more inclined to do it. There's shoot, Tank. We got to look at Tank in this situation. Brother Tank is now privy to potentially jump ship, even though normally he's with the PBC and Al Haymon and all that loyalty and stuff. I get that. There's a world where he can jump over and fight on Zuffa. And no matter how much what we've said about Tank, which has been justifiably true with the makeup of him as a fighter in or outside of the ring, with everything else, he's still one of the biggest stars in the sport. He's still one of the 10 biggest names that move the needle in boxing, without a doubt. If he goes and all of a sudden sees, I'm not here for a long time, they're offering me a huge bag that not even Al Haymon as a promoter is going to offer me. Guess what? I'm gone. And I can take fights that for the most part are not going to be challenging with the current roster of 135-pound fighters that we see Zuffa have right now. You better believe, outside of Shakur, I'm good. Yeah, I'll go over there. And I can probably leverage my way to not have to fight Shakur ever if I do go and sign with them. Why? Because with John Jones in the UFC, that buddy was able to avoid ever fighting and signing on a fight with Tom Aspinall. Excuses left, right, and center. All this other, and still was able to reign as champion. It took 2 years, plus over 2 years, to strip John Jones of his title when Tom Aspinall was reigning as the heavyweight champion of the world in the UFC. And he was only interim up until they finally made him the full-blown champion. Forget what happened with Gon and all that stuff, with the eye poke and whatnot. Strictly with him when he got to the position, it was Tom Aspinall, John Jones, y'all need to fight. That's the biggest fight in the heavyweight division we can make, and it needs to happen. And guess what? It never happened. Why? Because John Jones stalled out. And the UFC said, okay, you're John Jones. Why should we ever go and try to force you to do something? And if we did force you, it wasn't heavy-handed enough. Because it took you so long to finally say, okay, you're not champion anymore. Now do that in boxing terms with Tank. My gosh, he can stay there for 5 years and fight people with below 500 records and still be just fine. And the Zuffa won't do a thing about it. If we're going to follow what they've done with the biggest stars at their disposal, Conor McGregor even. It's been a pattern what they've done. Once you reach a certain level, again, rules for thee, for not for me, but it's substantially more significant of leeway. He could jump ship, and it's a ready-made bed for him to lay in. Everybody that is a promoter right now, Bob Arum, Al Haymon, Eddie Hearn, Oscar De La Hoya, all of you all with that final piece to the puzzle that was the PBC, you all better be very afraid. You all better be very afraid. Because if Shakur can jump, other people can jump too. They can. They absolutely can. They absolutely can. Let me see. Yep, and actually I'm seeing the play for Zuffa is making. Yeah, no, it's a huge play. It's a huge play. Shakur signed, Keyshawn is next. He'll be signing soon, I believe. And again, that's why we're waiting on that next signing for Keyshawn Davis could be, if we're talking about the next fight, most likely looking like it's going to be Devin Haney. That could be under Zuffa as well. It could. And if Devin Haney's only doing a 2-fight deal, that's fine. Keyshawn could straight up stay over there. Boom. That's a fight that y'all have lost. A fighter and a fight that y'all have lost. If you're, it's there for the taking. Let me see. This is it's a contest between Eddie and Dana. That's all. It's bigger than just that. That's the thing. It's bigger than just a contest. Also, Beat Skull, how you doing? We appreciate you on the live stream. Thank you for showing up with us today. We do appreciate the love. And please, if you would, leave a like on the stream. One like makes a world of difference in our channel to help us to reach the masses all across the globe. If you would be so kind, one like makes a world of difference. But it's bigger than just a competition between Eddie and Dana. Dana has been coming after every single promoter. All of them. He hates them. He hates them. If you forget, he was in boxing before anything else. He started the UFC after experiencing the politics and matchmaking and all that stuff of the boxing world. He didn't like it. He wanted to do his own thing. He starts the UFC, incorporates MMA into an American widespread audience, and built it from the ground up there, turning into a multi-billion-dollar corporation and operation that he solely has been owning, or as the majority owner, essentially the inventor and current curator of what we see now. Then the product ain't as great nearly as what it was. Absolutely. And that's on Dana White as well. But the biggest thing is he did this because of what he saw in boxing. And he hates, I emphasize hate, everybody over in the world of promotional boxing. He wants to, if he wants to cut the heads off of every Hydra at the same time, to an extent that none of them are able to grow back. The whole instance of Zuffa even coming into existence was to make it so that they would make every other promotion and belt obsolete, except for the Ring Magazine belt and the Zuffa title outright. Those are the new world championships that are the only viable thing anybody should care about. That is what he wants. This is not just a competition. This is a big deal in the perspective of the globe of the sport. It's shifting with one big step in the, if you want to talk about the Infinity Gauntlet, Shakur Stevenson is one of those stones. Shakur is one of those Infinity Stones in this Infinity Gauntlet. He is one of the pieces to go and collectively start the dismantling of this current landscape of boxing to rebuild it into the image that Dana White wants to have. It's a hostile takeover that starts out with one big chunk, and then trickling effect, and then another big chunk gets swayed over here. Now I got two. And subsequently, once you get two, getting the other five ain't as hard to get. Or excuse me, what was it, 3? I think it's 3. The other 3 stones, once you get 2, are not nearly as hard because now you got some power helping you out on top of the quest that you're trying to search for. It's a big leap in aggression. And Dana wants to cut the heads off of everybody that is trying to stop his rise until he only reigns. It is that deep. It is that big. It is that important and that stressful. Because the world, it's a live thing, man. The world's seeing it. It's bad. Let me see. He's settling hundreds of millions of dollars in lawsuits right now in the UFC. He is. He absolutely is. He absolutely is. But y'all have to understand, if I have my business understanding correctly, and again, people like Showbiz the Adult, people like Blue Blood Sports, people like the Boxing Voice and others, they've been able to, I believe they've been able to garner better financial understanding of the likes or the makeups of this deal and the boxing world as a whole, and a better breakdown than I can make it. I've been upfront with you all. If I can tell you something, I can tell you something. If I don't, I tell you where to find it. And we all about just making you smarter and going to people that can make you smarter in regards to maybe I can't, if I'm still learning as well. And I'm still learning. What I can say though is that he's settling lawsuits against the UFC, but the money that is being piped through Zuffa is also being piped through by TKO. And TKO is a separate entity of or from Zuffa in Thailand. Mind you, they're a corporation that owns the WWE and now also the UFC. And they been ruining the product of WWE for the last couple of months. I'll say that absolutely. Here's the reason why Sheamus got fired, if you didn't know. For those of you that are wrestling fans here, you know how big of a deal that is and how bad of a deal that is. Kofi Kingston, gone because of TKO. Because of the business model that they run. But that's their money. And they are also helping to fund, to my knowledge, the makings of Zuffa to be able to not just operate, but thrive and entice people. Because they're directly in response, or they're directly at an advantage if this thing does succeed. Because they're trying to go and step everywhere. Couple that with Turkey Al Sheik is also backing Zuffa as what's supposed to be advertised as a stepping stone to the big leagues of boxing. He's also in tune with, hey, I'm behind this as well. Dana's controlling this, but I'm also backing this. So they got money. Because if they didn't, I guarantee you, these settlements and all these lawsuits and stuff, they would have made it so Dana White wouldn't have been able to afford Shakur. If this is the truth, if it was all Dana's money, Dana would not have been able to afford Shakur in the first place. But it's not Dana's money, or not all of it, not nearly all of it. They got money to spend. The whole reason why they're backing these types of this promotion is to get fighters like this. For real. Yeah, sure, we don't talk about she's trying to make peace with everybody, trying to get them to go and work together, though reportedly those talks have failed. We get that he's worked with other promotions and just thrown money everywhere to make the fights happen. We understand that. I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just saying that's what happened. But I am also strictly saying he has directly helped to finance Zuffa as a boxing entity to go and make this type of signing possible. Because this is part of his and TKO's baby that they want to grow into something that can stand alone and potentially above the rest. It still is a goal because that's the whole organization of Zuffa. That's the reason for being. That's the reason for being. Let me see. Something has to take over the boxing world. That's what this is. Or at least that's what this attempt is. This attempt is to make it that Zuffa is the last man standing. I'm telling you, it only takes two. It only takes two. Just like I said with the Infinity Stone conversation, it only takes two people that are big on the scale of Shakur to sign with Zuffa. That all of a sudden, with other people's contracts expiring, with other people's disputes going on, like what we had initially with Oscar De La Hoya and Virgil Ortiz, it only takes those relationships start to go down. Or money. Okay, now you're not paying me anymore, and now it's time for me to go elsewhere. I'm a free agent. That now you can look and say, hey, they can afford this. I can go over there. I can go and make some magic happen and still get paid an abundance of money. A whole lot more up front. And what we said multiple times, we want fighters to get their money and be able to leave this sport happy. Most boxers, they love legacy, sure, but the thing is they got to get paid. They're going to look at that and say, hey, I'm a big time name with a big time cachet, and there's an opportunity to make more money than they've ever made before. It would be a fool of me to leave this on the table. I gotta go. For my family, for my security, for my well-being, because we know this sport eats you up and spits you out. In some situations, even though the long-term effects of what could happen to the sport as we know it could change for the worse, potentially. It could be for the better, but it also could be for the worse. But in that situation, the immediate and in-the-moment decision is the best for your future. So you got to make it. We can be mad. We can be frustrated. We can't fault them because we understand this sport is unforgiving. This sport is relentless. You do not, one punch can end everything about you, everything about your legacy. Your life, as we know it, could change forever. And you, because you didn't potentially take a certain opportunity, you're not set up to take care of yourself or your family, let alone if the worst does happen and you're not there to be able to be there for your family. Now, you are potentially out of luck to help them still be all right. We don't want that to happen in the slightest. Be clear. We're just saying the reality of what this other side of the boxing ethos is and why fighters make the decisions that they make. So it's going to have a lot of people looking around and saying, you know what? It might be worth taking the risk because I don't know what may come down the line next. So, if Shakur can do it, so can I. They can do it, so can I. So I might as well give it a chance. Let me see. Zuffa has had some good matchmaking. No, yeah, it has. It has. Be clear. I'm never gonna. Well, outside of the recent run of UFC matchmaking over the last 3 years. Outside of that, which has been very much lackluster, which is why a lot of people have been saying that boxing has been able to have better, consistent fights than the UFC. Dana White as a matchmaker has always been good for the majority of his time. We have wanted to have the UFC type of competitive matchmaking and more sensible, reasonable matchmaking for the boxing landscape for a mighty long time. We've been begging for that. We asked for that. We were hoping that we would see that actually happen. Well, rankings matter in a way. If I'm number 10, you're number 8. We fight each other. We switch spots if I beat you. You're number 2, I'm number 4. Or you're number 2 or number 3. If I win my next fight, I'm fighting you. And if I beat you, I get your shot at a title. Boom. And it switches. Competitor. 3 fights, we've been on a collision course. All right, this next fight, if y'all win, you're gonna fight for the title. Straight up. You went on a 4-fight win streak, guess what? Now you're gonna be fighting one of the biggest stars in the sport. Without a doubt. You're moving up. You're already a champion. Boom, you're gonna be fighting for a title. Double champ in your first fight. It's going down because you can skip the line because you deserve it. And there's gonna be no flack about it. It's just gonna happen. That's what we want to see. Multiple rematches, multiple rivalries. Storytelling because we've had history. Bunch of people with a bunch of losses. Why? Because everybody's fighting somebody that is at or above their skill level. And anybody can be beat at any given point in time because there's no real protection there. If you lose, you lose. If you win, you win. You can build yourself up to a certain point, but after that, it is what it is. That's what we want to see boxing have. And that's what Dana White has been able to garner when he's been with the UFC. Him doing this in boxing is not a surprise in the slightest. It ain't. It shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. If you've seen the rise and grandeur of the UFC, especially when it was at its peak. That's why even though it's a young sport in the framework of a professional league, it's been able to rise to one of the more talked about sports in America and in the globe, and had a level of global reach because it was a consistent sea of people being not just entertained, but it was easy to follow, and everything for the most part made sense. Everything for the most part made sense for who fought who, what was what, and what's going down when. Like what boxing should have been for multiple years, and what it used to be, to some degree, for multiple years, way back in the day, up until, again, stuff started to splinter and things started to go awry. That's where we have these problems and issues. Because of that, now we see their model can work. Their model can be phenomenal. Be clear. If we got to see, here's the thing. Listen to this. I want you to say, if we do see, if there's a world where we get Shakur, Devin Haney, Keyshawn Davis, Tank, and depending on Lomachenko coming back, if he does indeed sign a multi-fight deal with a promotion, because again, he is technically a free agent with this retirement. He's out of the contract. He could go there too. If all 5 of them signed to Zuffa, there would most likely be a world where we get every single one of them fighting each other. We get Shakur versus Tank Davis. We get Shakur versus Devin Haney. We get Devin Haney versus Tank. We get a rematch between Devin Haney and Lomachenko, potentially. Or if Devin Haney's too big for that fight, fine. We get Lomachenko versus Tank Davis. We get Lomachenko versus Shakur. We get Tank versus Shakur. Any abundance of matchmaking could happen. By the way, Keyshawn Davis, Devin Haney could happen. Keyshawn Davis versus Tank could happen. Keyshawn Davis versus Loma could happen. Well, not Loma because he's at 135. That might not happen unless Loma chooses to move up. Keyshawn Davis versus Shakur. As much as they say we're never going to fight, guess what? The way Dana White normally works. Friend or foe, I don't know. And guess what? I don't care. If we can match you up against each other, we're going to try. That could be on the table. All of those fights would be in the world of the Dana White reasoning for matchmaking. It could be an abundance of it can happen right then and there. That's the good. That's the good aspects of what Dana White normally does. Because the matchmaking, even at this level where we're not getting, the names of the Zuffa boxing regime are not incredibly high. They're not leading off bat with a bunch of, we got Benavidez on deck. And then at, the second fight that we also got is Jai Apataya versus Benavidez. We ain't got that. We don't, it ain't like we got Abdullah and Keyshawn all right there for each other. Oh, by the way, we signed Janibek as well. We got somebody at 160 who's one of the best in the world. It ain't like that. But still, it's they're matching it up that you're seeing the talent pushed to their limit for who they are. In a good way. And that creates sustainability. That creates stardom. Or at least that creates some consistency to make people want to care about who's fighting. And that is something that Dana White's been able to master more than anything in his career. Because that's what has helped to make him such a strict or such a stable force in the world of combat sports. And it's good that I wish others had. Oftentimes they just don't. Oftentimes they just don't. But let me keep on reading your thoughts and opinions. I want to make sure I don't overlook anybody. And please be sure to go ahead and keep on subscribing to the channel and keep on liking the stream. One like makes a world of difference on our show to make us continue to grow and be able to thrive as a conglomerate of a community. But let me keep on reading your thoughts and opinions. The Ryan versus De La Santos match was it was a very good fight. We all know Tank ain't signing. You'll be surprised, man. You'll be surprised. I guarantee you, Gervonta Davis is the $1 million man. Money is what drives him more than anything. Money and notoriety drive his decisions more than anything. I promise you, he will sign with Zuffa if Zuffa gives him a bag big enough. Because, and again, and I'm gonna make sure I pull this up to be on the right side of understanding. But if I remember correctly, I don't even think Tank is a part of the PBC right now. I think I read some report that Tank, and I'm gonna look it up to make sure, but I read some report that Tank is. Well, no, that report is wrong. I apologize. Forget that report. That report is wrong. Actually, well, okay. You know what? Conflicting reports. So we saw the report yesterday. Tank ain't gonna be able to, or this week, Tank ain't gonna be able to fight till 2027. Understandable. We saw that. We covered that. That was Al Heyman telling Bill Haney that's what's going down when they hear the conversation together. Cool. Perfectly fine. On the flip side, per Brunch Boxing, and who is another journalistic article covering the world of sports. Again, reputable in my experience using them for news references and scoops about what's going on. They said Tank will not be included in the DAZN PBC deal. To reiterate, for those that may be not aware, PBC signed with DAZN, and now DAZN has Golden Boy, Matchroom, PBC, and Top Rank all under their broadcast banner. Essentially, all four big promotions are living in the same house. Great. However, though Tank is a part of the PBC currently, he is not a fighter that's going to be included in this broadcast deal. And per what this article says, allegedly it's going to have to be separate negotiations for Tank to fight under DAZN and with the PBC. With this deal that PBC signed, they're going to have to do separate negotiations with Tank to get his fight scheduled. On top of the fact that he won't be ready to fight up until next year. That's all the news that we have right now. So, there's a world where if this deal don't take place and the money's never good enough, yeah, he could jump. I'm out. I'm gone. I'm retired. Not anymore. I'm back here and I'm a free agent. Now we can go and sign with the people that's going to pay me a boatload of money. There's a world where it can happen. There is absolutely a world where it can happen that he can sign with Zuffa. As much as we can say it won't ever happen. It can't. Let me see. Now Loma signing would be great. It would. Now, granted, do you want Loma to sign with Zuffa, or do you want him to be able to stick with Top Rank because of who Top Rank has right now? With Murataya, with Mason, with Schofield, who I believe is Top Rank, all of them are not with Zuffa. And again, for the fear of potentially not getting those types of fights because pushback against Zuffa, wouldn't that be the best opportunity to go and, make stuff shake up? Also, it's not Joe Cordina, Sam Noakes, the fight that we talked about yesterday, the fight that I want to see Lomachenko win, that would have to be not under Zuffa, but under Top Rank. So I don't think right now, for the scope of Lomachenko's career, with the amount of fights we could potentially see him have, sure, at 135, Shakur would be a great fight to have. But like I said, El Rayo for me isn't the one that's going to move the needle for Lomachenko. To really get that wow factor, he's back, he's here, oh my goodness, he's still the Matrix. It would be Noakes. So, have him sign with Top Rank instead, even if it's for just a 1 or 2 fight deal. And then, now, after you got your name back into the big time limelight, You got a choice. Mason, Schofield, Shakur, and Zuffa. Which one you want to do? Now you can go make that decision. But let me see. I wish you would have gotten Janibek versus Crawford, man. And look, that fight probably would have happened if Janibek did not pop dirty. Janibek didn't pop dirty. See, and again, this still falls under Zuffa in terms of what we're talking about, because Janibek does flow into this conversation. If Janibek did not go and pop dirty for drugs and had beaten Arizona Lara, I guarantee you Terrence Crawford would have gone after that championship. I promise you, I'm so sure, because he was leaning towards that in every which way. He was leaning towards that in every which way. He went to his press conference. He was telling them, I'm watching you. He was leading into, I'm going down to 160. Good gosh, man. I hate that he popped, because we could have gotten that fight. And it would have been for undisputed if we had seen Janibek win. And it could have been just like his shirt said in training camp, 4-time undisputed champion, the only 4-time undisputed champion in the history of the 100+ years that this sport has ever been a part of. Good gosh, that's just frustrating. Shoot, that's ridiculous. And we'll most likely never see it again, because Crawford is not coming back. He's not coming back. He is not coming back. That's frustrating. That really is frustrating, man. I hate it. I hated the kingdom come. I hated the kingdom come. Let me see. What's up, homie? New watch. I hope you have a great day, man. God bless you. But hey, look, Antoine, appreciate the Antoine Wills, appreciate you, man. We thank you for showing up and showing out on our show. What's good with you? Salute to you. And we're glad you're joining in on our live stream today. Thank you so much for the well wishes and the support. Look, we're trying to be high energy and we're trying to cover everything under the sun. If this is the championship rounds, just so you know, even if you are not up to date in the boxing world, we talk boxing, we talk football, we talk it all. This is the day to talk about whatever you want to discuss. We are indeed covering the world of Shakur Stevenson and Zuffa. This is the biggest deal imaginable right now. But whatever question, the comments you want to have, we want to hear from you, and put your stuff in the chat down below and have your thoughts and opinions on display for the world to see. And we want to hear from you in every regard and facet of life. We hope you're enjoying the show. We hope you're appreciating, all right? We hope you are being entertained, and we appreciate you being here with us on today. And hey, you subscribe? Well, welcome to the Empire, my brother. Yes, indeed. Welcome to the army of the Welch Report, and welcome to this empire of a community. We welcome all new subscribers, and you just joined in on the hottest community and the greatest community in all of the globe. We are small, but we are mighty, and we are growing every step of the way, and we value each and every one of you, and we appreciate it oh so much, and we hope you're going to be back for future episodes, because we do this 3 days out the week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, covering the world of boxing and beyond. On a side note, we're still waiting on any new news with LeBron as the potential free agency market is heating up, or rather coming to a potential crescendo with his move being finalized. Maybe within the next couple of weeks, we will find out. Cleveland's being a big potential deal that he's going to be going into with I believe, the Miami Heat being a close second. But things can flip on a dime. But we're still keeping a pulse on that for sure. I promise you that. But I can't wait to go through, because but before we continue, there's one last thing I wanted to say about this Zuffa situation, specifically with Shakur Stevenson. One last thing before we get open it back up to the floodgates of the boxing world, and that is in reference to, if I can find it, that's in reference to Shakur talking about one of the fights that he wants to have with his career going forward. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. It should not. Nope, it's not. I'm not Eddie Hearn. No, not them. The what? I know I had it up here. I know where I got to say. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Give me 1 second. When I try to stall for time, we're trying to make sure that we're trying to make sure that we pull everything up. Here it is. Here's the quote. It wasn't a clip. It was a quote. Excuse me. But here's the quote in reference to what we say, or what Shakur was saying about his mentality fighting, signing with Zuffa. And he says, let me make sure you all can see it. Okay, you all can see it. As I'll zoom in real quick, he says, I'm not really thinking of Undisputed. Oh my. I'm not really thinking of Undisputed. I just want to fight the biggest fights. I want to fight the guys that fans want to see me fight at this stage in time. And again, I added that last part, but this is the direct quote he was talking about with Shakur directly after signing with Zuffa. This is why with this deal, I am not sure that even the Rayos of the world, the De Los Santoses of the Zuffa world, will be able to get these fights if he does indeed choose to move like this. Because if that's the case, when we're looking at Shakur, he may not want to go against anybody that is not an A-plus fighter. Now, look, Ryan Graves, I know you got a strict thing when it comes to grading scale. When I say A+, I'm talking about from a level of who the people want to see, who the people think are the best, and who the people see as the biggest threats. That's what Shakur is saying he wants to go and fight against, not necessarily the championships. And here's the question: does Conor Ben fit that bill of a fight that the public at large would want to see, even though that would be a good fight? Because if I remember correctly, when we were talking about Conor Ben versus Shakur, that was a fight that many people were saying, that's not what we want. Sure, that's a good fight. That can be a good fight. But off the back of him going potentially life or death with Regis Progress, do people really want to see that fight go through? It was a lot of died down enthusiasm for that fight potentially being on the table, at least for what the initial response of what that fight might look like would be. And because of the whole news with Devin Haney and that whole kerfuffle with potentially them getting in the ring with each other, everybody kind of said, Conor Ben, we don't want that in the slightest right now, because that's the fight that we want. Devin Haney versus Shakur, further losing its luster. I don't know if we will actually get that fight with Conor Ben, if this is the frame of mind that Shakur is thinking about, because that wouldn't fit the bill of the enthusiastic nature that people would be excited to see. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Perfectly fine. I have no issue. I'm just telling you, that's what the public says. That's what the fandom around the global boxing, that's how they shifted. And we can be fickle. I know that for a fact. And so even if it was, from that signal, it could be that we may not get that fight with Conor Ben. Or if it is, it's more like a, let's get this over with, because this isn't what really I want. This isn't really what I want to care about if I'm Shakur, because I know what I'm gunning for, and it's the bigger names on display. Let me see. Everyone wants to see Shakur fight Garcia, Ben, Haney, Davis, and the other Davis, Mason, Murataya, a lot of guys. Yeah, a lot of them. But there's still a ranking to this system of the hierarchy. You even brought up a tier list when it came to who's at the top of 135 and 140. Now, we can make an actual scale later on. But if we want to if we want to have a genuine scale for the amount of notoriety and excitement that any of these fights would be for Shakur, if we want to go A, B, and C, it will most likely be Haney would be in the A tier, Davis would be in the A tier, Tank Davis, Keyshawn Davis would also be in the A tier of fighters. B tier would be Garcia, Ben, Murataya. And I think C tier, only because of the age, would be Abdullah Mason. In fact, you might actually be able to, for the fan, you might actually be able to flip that and put Mason in that B tier as well, with Garcia and Ben, and then Murataya in that C tier, only because Mason may be looked at as a more prominent, notable name in the wider landscape. I'm not talking about skill. We're talking about notoriety. I'm not talking about skill. I'm talking about what, based on this quote, I'm pointing the wrong way. Based on this quote, what would fit that bill for these names that you put up. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And because of that, that would be my list for who would fit that hierarchy of who the fans would want to see first and foremost before anybody. It'd be Devin Haney, Javonte Davis, Keyshawn Davis in the A tier, Garcia, Connor Bent, and most likely Abdullah Mason in that B tier. In the C tier, it will be an incredible fight. But what's on the most immediate minds of, we're talking about the casual and semi-hardcore audience, it would be Mason over Murataya. Though Murataya at this point in time would be an incredible fight to have, skill for skill, going up against Shakur at 135. But we're going off of the wider notion of the boxing knowledge and ethos. What's being talked about. That would be my list for who would want to fight who, or who people would want to see him fight before others, in my opinion. But let me see what you all got to say. Murataya beat Shakur. That's why you said beat you. No. I didn't say that. Hold on. I ain't say that now. Wait a second now. Hold on. I ain't say that. I did not say that he would beat him. I simply said it would be a good fight. I simply said it'd be a good fight. I didn't say he would beat him. I just said it'd be a good fight, and it would be a good fight. Also, Mr. Miyagi, how you doing? We appreciate you on the show. Good to see you. Please keep on liking the stream. Keep on sharing the show and keep on subscribing to the channel to have everybody see what we got going on the show today. Salute Jean-Luc. Still think if you get a big enough star, you should fight a less known hood fighter to help everybody shine. And that I get it, and I see what you're saying. You want to give the people that they're good fighters, but they're not well known, the opportunity to shine and grow. Absolutely. But at the same breath, everybody doesn't view everybody as worth the time because they were young at one point, and this is how the boxing thing goes. Even if you're young, hungry, and you're a dog, unless you reach a certain level, you're not worth the risk, or you're not worth the time to do training camps, to do all this cutting weight and doing all this stuff to get ready for a fight, and you're not even up here in notoriety. When I'm already established, and you may not even be in a position to where, you deserve to be here now. Even though you're not known, you deserve this opportunity because you fought and did this, you beat this guy, and now, you fit the bill. Still, you still haven't reached that zenith of you're worth the work with the gains coming back. If I beat you, does that elevate me, or does that just make you have a good opportunity, but for me, it doesn't really change anything? That's how some people think. I'm not saying that's how Shakur thinks. I'm just telling you that could be a notion as to why we may not see some fights that would be very good and entertaining because they might not be seen as worth the time to the current top dog in boxing. It's not all the time that happens, but we've seen it with champions before. We have, and then we almost seen it with Kabayel, who should have already had a shot at the heavyweight championship, who now is, I believe, got elevated. Cool. I believe he got elevated to a championship, but he didn't get the opportunity to fight Usyk, even though he was in position to fight Usyk for about a year. And so, it can be, as a fighter, it's a lot of stuff goes into what fights you should make. Fans, we can definitely have our opinions, and we do. But we also understand, for boxers' perspective, it's still, in the whole, it's still a business. And that's why they may think in that type of vein. So people like Benavidez, people like Inoue, people like Terrence Crawford, no matter who you are, where you are, or how big you may be, I'm gonna fight you regardless because you that dog and I'm a bigger dog, so I'm gonna just take you out. All right, fine. Next up, I'm knocking you down. Next up, I'm knocking you down without any need to go and say, I'm trying to only get big guns. Fighting everybody. So it could be like that. Let me see. Keyshawn not going anywhere his brother can't go. That's yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You are not wrong at all. And because of that, that's why I'm saying he might sign with Zuffa. Because of that exact notion. That's why I'm saying he might sign with Zuffa. This could be he could follow the leader. He could follow the leader in Keyshawn Davis. It's a real possibility. Let me see. Cause who knows Marcus Maidana until he got a shot. I think Marco had somewhat of a following, but it really blew up immensely when he got his opportunity. Yeah, to fight. So I understand it. Let me see. Who's sanctioning Zuffa fights? Who's testing for performance enhancements? Zuffa is known for performance enhancing drugs. Yeah. They've had a lot of cases of popping dirty. John Jones being some of the most significant, but others in the UFC world as well have popped dirty for doping. I'm not exactly sure who is in charge. It might be everything's in-house. And Zuffa also does the drug testing for what goes on. I believe, but I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not as familiar with the ins and outs of Zuffa operating as was with the UFC as a whole, but they share a lot of similarities when it comes. I think it's almost the same makeup to some degree because it's the same company. Let's see, we all found a diamond in the rough in Ramon Cardenas when he got a shot against. Anyway, we did, but also I believe Cardenas had fought, and he was when Sam Goodman? No, it wasn't because of Sam Goodman. Sam Goodman dropped. It was Kim that came in and replaced him. I think Cardenas wasn't he? I think he fought his way into a shot. And he was like one of the, I think, you know what? Let me not speak on that. I can't remember exactly how Cardenas got there. I just know I'm glad he got there. I just know I'm glad. And that's a good example of having opportunities to people where, hey, he can give you a really good show. And this buddy can actually be something serious if he gets the opportunity to show he's something serious. I understand. And it does, and this is with the UFC model. It would be a lot easier to have those situations happen more and more and more. It would. Because, I mean, at one point in time, Manny Pacquiao was an unknown brother. And then the first fight in the U.S., he took the world championship. Everybody was like, who the world is this cat? All of a sudden, he got the opportunity, and it was up from there. And so the opportunity is the most significant thing. But and you want everybody to get that shot if they can. The best way to do that is the structure of matchmaking that the UFC does. If boxing did that, it would be a lot more consistent. We would have notoriety for more than just the top names as respected. And these people, they can fight. They're fun to watch. They can sell and all this stuff. It'd be a lot more robust. Let me see. Zuffa is not signing Keyshawn Davis, but okay. I see what you're saying. Okay, my bad. I thought you were talking about Keyshawn Davis and his Shakur being his brother. Zuffa's not going to sign Keyshawn Davis's brothers. Ooh. That's actually a good question. That's actually a really good question. That could hold Keyshawn back. Now, also, it could be the other side of that coin. It could be at this stage in Keyshawn's career, he feels his brothers can stand on their own. And now, I'm still with y'all. but I got to go carve my own legacy out. And Keyshawn Davis is the brother who he's at the cusp right now of having a chance to get to that seat at the table of boxing that he's wanted to for a mighty long time. Does he really pass up that risk to stay with his brothers and family? This ain't like the Klitschko brothers where both of them were at the top of the mountain so we could all just stay together. It ain't like that. It ain't like that. It's a situation where clearly there's one better than everybody else. I don't even think they would be mad if he went and signed with another promotion. Even if they couldn't come, because they see this cat's got the opportunity to do something incredible. And let's say that the next fight is with Devin Haney and it is under the Zuffa banner. Would he not go to sign with Zuffa? Because all of a sudden, this is the chance I've been waiting for. And this is the chance his own family has said, this is what you can do. I don't think they wouldn't let him sign, or he would feel bad for signing with Zuffa after that. Because this is what that whole family had worked for, collectively. For somebody's going to get this shot. If it's you, great. So that's why I don't know. I think it might be more likely than you may think. I think it might be more likely than you may feel, in all honesty. Let me see. Cardina stepped in because Picasso. Okay, so I knew he stepped in for somebody. Picasso didn't want to fight in a way at that point, and Cardina stepped in to fight him, and that's how we got where we got. Okay, all right. Thank you for clearing that up. I appreciate it, Mr. Miyagi. That helps me out a whole bunch. Now we got the timeline correct. If he signs with Zuffa, he promotes his company. Keyshawn Promotions Company is DB3. Now, if they give him the freedom that they're talking about, Shakur will be able to get also. You may be able to. Like I said, here's the thing. Here's what you have to understand. These are quality critiques to have. Keyshawn won't do this because this X, Y, Z. Absolutely. But understand the bigger game at play when it comes to Zuffa boxing. They have to make addendums to how they operate. Just to get to this point with Shakur, they had to do things they said they did not want to do at all as an entity in boxing. There's going to be some things that they're going to have to give up as standards of, we're not going to let you promote certain things. We might not let you wear certain gloves or certain attire. We're not going to let you have your own brand or so. There's going to be some capitulations they're going to have to shift at some point because of the type of business that they're in. This ain't the UFC. Boxers are their own brand. That's the thing. Boxers are their own brand. And again, what freedom is Zuffa giving Shakur? We're about to find out. I'm not exactly sure, because again, they haven't said it publicly. We're about to find out. I guarantee you in the next couple months, we're going to find out if he can wear his own gloves, wear his own shoes, wear his own attire, wear his own brand, have his own music and own songs, and break the rules that Zuffa has to make everybody a Zuffa fighter. Because Shakur is not a Zuffa fighter. Shakur is a fighter that is fighting with Zuffa. He is in addition to them, but he is not under them. That's how he's working it. That's how he wants it to work. That's exactly why he's able to fight with whoever the word he wants to fight with, per how he's describing his contract. When previously Zuffa said, we don't want to work with nobody else that ain't with us. Or you got to come to our side to do what we want to do. They ain't doing that no more. They've changed their tune. You can fight for other belts now. When initially, they didn't want you fighting for any other belt outside of the Zuffa Championship. You can negotiate with other promotions now. When initially, you had to fight everybody in-house straight up. I'm telling you, they're going to have to make some changes because they're dealing with a bigger pool of fish. Straight up bigger fish. They are the small pond. If you want to have these fish in your pond, you're going to have to build yourself a bigger pond and turn that into a lake. You got to change for what's coming into the water. The animals aren't changing for the water. You want them to swim in your pool. You don't demand them to shrink down. You make yourself bigger. Because that's the only way you can fit the fish inside your pool. You got to make the change. You got to go dig out some dirt. You got to go dam up a lake, dam up a stream, reroute some waterways. You have to make the change, or else these fish are going to die. And by die, I mean they're going to leave. And all this infrastructure, all this momentum is going to be put to pot because you did not choose to go and say, we're in a different frame of environment. We're dealing with a different frame of animal. We're dealing with a different beast. We can't do stuff the way we want to do it outright. Also because we ain't nearly that big. And we just got the biggest thing that we've been waiting on, which is a big name like Shakur. So now what we going to do? Let that fall by the wayside, or are we going to make it so that we make this change last and make more fish want to come into our pond? It's still a sink and swim business. It still is. And if they ain't careful, they going to stink if they don't make some changes, because they have to, because they're not the ones that can dictate their success. It's the fighters, because this is a fighter-driven sport. The brand is not Zuffa. The brand is Shakur. Shakur is the reason why this deal is so big. Not just because Zuffa getting this fighter is great, but Shakur made this decision to go there. Oh my gosh. Wow. We can't believe it. We didn't think Zuffa could get this far. Did we? Now, a lot of people said it wasn't going to be this type of situation. Zuffa landing a big fish, if it's possible, it can change a whole bunch of stuff, but most likely it ain't happening. That was the initial inference. A lot of skepticism. We don't trust you. That's what everybody said about Zuffa. And now they got Shakur. It's a big accomplishment for them, but Shakur is the prize. More importantly, he is the force that gave Zuffa the level of credibility, not the other way around. And if they don't operate like that, they're going to lose this brother as quickly as they got him. As quick as they got him. I guarantee you. I promise you, they'll do it. They will do it. Let me see. Dana learned a lesson with Conor McGregor, making millions without the UFC. Dana is basically signing a 360 deal. If you know music, he may try. He gonna try. That's now. I don't want that to happen, because that can hurt the fighters. I don't want that for me, because I know that can hurt the fighters immensely. If this is a 360 type of deal situation, that can hurt the fighters, and I don't want the fighters to be hurt in any way. Going and making this stuff, making these deals happen. I don't want that. Neither should you. I don't think anybody should want it. So it can be a slippery slope. It can be a problematic issue. If not, though, and this does work, it can change a whole bunch of stuff. Let me see. Yep, too many lakes. We need a river that eventually flows into an ocean. Eventually, we hope we can get there through the right means. We do hope we can get there. The fact that Zuffa gave Conor Ben $15 million for Regis Progress was basically an advertisement to show that, yes, thank you, they pay good money for not good fights. Absolutely. It was a risk to go and show the world we're willing to throw a bag. That was a ploy. That was a perfect marketing tool. It's like when companies say we'll pay you $36 an hour to do this type of stuff. It gets you in the door, because you're seeing, my goodness, they're paying a whole bunch of stuff for. They're paying a whole bunch of stuff for a fighter that we are, hey, we can get some good money. And might not even, and you see, we're doing this for this type of stuff. Don't let us pay money for something that isn't even, that is good. That's a whole new can of worms, if that's the case. And for a lot of people, that's gonna I'm trying to make sure I'm getting my color back. I'm trying to make sure I get my color back on my screen a little bit. I'm just looking a little dull. Okay, there we go. I had to make sure I had to do a little bit of temperature change on the screen. But it was an advertisement to get people to want to buy into, oh, you can make some good money if you come here for trash, let alone for good stuff. If you get some good stuff coming up here, you're going to be paying 25, 30, 45 million. My goodness. Who knows? The sky's the limit. Come and see what we got going on. And it worked. It did indeed work. So get two good fighters, they can get a lot. That's the thing. Average to basic good fighter got this type of money. Somebody isn't even top 15 in the world got essentially a one fight $15 million deal. You get somebody that's actually one of the top 15, who knows what money they can make. That's why I can't wait to see the numbers of this contract that they got with Zuffa when inevitably it does come out. Most likely it's going to be ridiculous. How do you know that he gave him $15 million? That was the reported number from every close source involved with giving or with the details of the contract. To my knowledge, I don't have these sources of inside information. I'm going by what reputable articles, journalists, and people that have been in this sport and actively have been trustworthy with reporting things. Multiple people reported the same thing. It's a $15 million deal that they're signing with. And then boom, it did sign. After that, I think there was a whole situation of now this brother signing another deal, and now people were saying maybe that $15 million was actually just a multi-fight situation that was advertised just a one-fight deal, which then turned into false advertising, which then got everybody saying, wait, is this real or not real? What's the actual number? We're a little bit concerned. And that whole rigmarole for like 2 weeks took place. So that's what happened. I'm just telling you what the number was that consistently got reported. He got $15 million worth of something. I can concretely say that. And if I'm wrong, I'm fine with being wrong. I'm just telling you what most of the respected boxing reporters and pundits and even people on television that were, hey, he got this much money. BBC News saying he got this type of money. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm doing. Like I said, I'm not trying to act like I know everything. Be clear, I'm not. Be clear, I don't. I'm just giving you the best stuff I can garner on the whole. That was reported on every boxing news source, but until it came to a light until it come to light that it's a bunch of mess, then you had to take it as fact, and obviously it's drawn both Shakur and Haney. That's the thing. If it comes out later, all this stuff is a ruse, well, I told you so. We can't trust Zuffa. But at the same breath, I can only take what we got with what we have. I gain nothing in trying to tell you all what the numbers are on something. Because number one, I'm not the first to report it. Number two, this is not an inside scoop that only I have. Number three, I have no advantage in getting any deal from this. And number four, I'm not paid by nobody except for y'all. I'm not paid by anybody except for the people that are watching this stream. Also, if you would, leave a like on the stream. And hey, if you want to pay me, we got Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, Super Chat to Super Gifts galore. And, just so you know, we're funded by viewers like you, and we appreciate your alms to the empire and your patronage to the support of this channel. If you would be so kind. But I digress. That's why, at least, I hope I can bring a level of respect where if I tell you all something, it's because of all of those prerequisites as to I don't have any other alternatives to tell you something different. I gain nothing. And Lord willing, even if I did gain something, I would have hoped I would have the integrity at that point in time to say, you know what, we still gonna keep the same thing. I still don't gain nothing. Because if I'm wrong, guess what? Y'all gonna kill me for it. I lose y'all respect. And that's the only reason why I can even get paid. At all. So I can't risk that. I cannot risk that. So that's why I'm up front with telling y'all, if I don't know something, I don't know something. And whatever I know is whatever I know in the immediate. That's it. That's it. And everything else is simply my opinions, my reactions, and the discourse and debate that we have on this show. Hopefully I'm doing right by you all. But again, enough sentimental pleas to the public. This is just the real deal. He's signing with them. He's getting paid a bunch of money. I would assume it's close to the $100 million that we saw Devin Haney get. Or at least in the ballpark. Maybe not the same amount, but just something there. Because if it's a multi-year deal, that's he definitely got a good chunk of change. He most definitely got a good change. I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the most highly paid boxers because of this deal. After this, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the top 10 highest paid boxers in the sport after this deal. Not a shock at all. Not a shock. Not a shock. And what's crazy? What's crazy? If this is true, is what honestly is what we're gonna see from these other promotions. Because I'm gonna tell you something right now. Somebody, not even somebody. Where's the picture? Everybody here, like we talked about with everybody signing with the same people. Everybody here. PBC signs with DAZN. Every major boxing promoter is all signed with DAZN except for Zuffa. They're gonna have to make some stuff happen to keep their own fighters happy. They are. They're gonna have to. They're gonna have to. Hold on, 1 second. Hold on. It's starting to rain. Let me close my window. Hold on a second. Want to make sure that we keep everything safe. Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait 1 second. Okay, there we go. Okay, just had to close my window. I ain't trying to get. It was a bright sunny day. I had my window open, and I was trying to be all sunshine and everywhere. But now it ain't moving that same way no more. It's raining a little bit. It's not even a little. It's a lot. It's raining a lot now. And so, but what was I saying? Promotions. All these other promotions, they're gonna have to go and force some real stuff to shake up in this division for all their divisions to keep their fighters happy. So we might get some people making some big moves in these fights to make stuff happen. Because now somebody got ripped away. We got to make sure we don't lose out on giving the Benavidez's, the Keyshawn Davis's, and everybody else that's under our regime currently. We don't want them jumping ship too because they're not getting what they want. And now, forget being stingy or not stingy with money. We gonna make stuff shake because we got to make sure we keep our people wanting to stay with us because we want them to believe that we are what we say that we are. And if that's the case, we could see a lot more fights get made a lot more easily in the future. Because there might be a lot more capitulations that are able to be done, which is exciting. It really is. Let me see. I'm excited for the next season of the Culling Game, Jiu-Jitsu Kaisen. Oh, we got some people talking about Shakur, but I want to talk about Jiu-Jitsu Kaisen. Ooh, okay, hold on, hold that thought. Hold this thought. We're going to run back to this. Because again, big fan of Jiu-Jitsu Kaisen. I can't wait for it either. I'm right with you. I'm excited, Mr. Miyagi as well. But I did promise I was gonna play some clips about Shakur that I hadn't gotten to play yet because we kept having all this discussion, which I love the discussion. Be clear, I do appreciate it. We want this every single day, but we had to play some stuff about Shakur and his own remarks because there's still stuff to cover about this deal and about the whole of his MO as a fighter. And be clear, these are the fight. We want to talk about the names that he wants to face off against. He just did the interview with Dana White on Sports Center yesterday, regarding this whole reaction. Let me see. What is Shakur's curse technique? Ooh. You know what? Probably infinity. Because he is able to keep distance at all times, and you can never seem to break that mold. You can't seem to break through it. It would probably be infinity, like with Gojo. I believe his name is Gojo. Brother with the blue eyes and all. I'd probably be that. Nah. He ain't cracking, swatting people out the same way. But it's definitely like no matter how close you come to get him, you cannot seem to get to him. I think that perfectly fits. I think that would be the most, God, because it is insane that no matter how much you're able to pressure him, you cannot seem to break through that distance if he wants to keep it. You can say he only moves backwards and so on. That's fine. This brother, I rarely see somebody this near perfect at never giving up whatever distance he wants to keep. I can't remember somebody to this degree I've been able to see that just been able to, when I get a lock on you, if this is the line, you're not crossing this line no matter what you want to try. It's such a unique level skill. It's the closest thing I think of is infinity in that regard. But before we continue, I got to make sure I keep my promises. Let me play this clip about what Shakur said about what this move means to Zuffa and who he's looking to fight now that he's with Zuffa, calling out names directly, which I'm always excited to see happen. But let me play this clip right now so you all can see what is going down.
My main focus right now, I would think, is Devin Haney or Javante Tank Davis, and them the guys who I think will show that I'm the one.
Hey, Dana, what are the chances maybe we see Shakur and Haney or Tank? What's the likelihood?
Yeah, no, those are fights that we love too. We like them, and for people that haven't watched boxing in a while or haven't whatever, this kid is one of the pound for pound best in the world, undefeated. 25-0, 4-division world champion by 28 years old, and he's 29 now, so he's in his prime. There's lots of great fights out there for him, and I'm excited about him. I'm pumped that we got him and we got him signed, and I'm looking forward to his first fight.
My main focus.
So again, just so you know, that's his focus, not titles like he said, backing it up with publicly saying, take Devin Haney, two biggest names he wants to fight. Now, beyond just getting the fights outright, could he win both of those fights? And if he does win both of those fights, I need you to understand what that would do for Zuffa and specifically for Shakur as a whole. Because if he did fight Devin Haney and Tank under the Zuffa banner and beat them, well, for most people, that's a top 4, top 3 fighter now. For some people, that's number 1 in the world. For some people, that's number 1 outright if he did that. And Zuffa would be in possession of the 3. Zuffa would have under their contract, not in possession because you don't own them, but Zuffa would have under contract the 3rd best fighter in the world at minimum. In most people's eyes, who just beat the 2 of some of the biggest names in the sport, and one of the biggest names outright in the sport in Tank. Potentially, I've said before, if Tank loses, Tank might retire. The first loss he gets might be the last fight he ever has. And I'm telling you right now, if Shakur was the guy to have that also under his belt, Zuffa's got a gold mine. That's it. Everybody after that, if D does that, everybody is coming over for that. That's violent level ripple effects. If this does come to fruition. If it did. Why nobody asking how many fights he signed for? Well, mind you, because it's years, it's not number of fights. It's a multi-year deal, not a multi-fight deal. So it's predicated on, like with Canelo, who signed in 2020, 4? It was a 5 to 6 fight deal, but it went through 2027, which I believe is next year. Shakur, they haven't given a specific number. They've just been saying it is multi-year deals, which I would assume could be 3 to 4, because they're advertising it as it's a long-term deal. So it could be 2 fights a year, even if it's only 3 years. That's 6 fights that he's got to have if he's keeping with the track record of you're fighting twice. That would be the thing. And if so, great. If so, phenomenal. If so, stupendous. Because who wouldn't want to see that? Because then that's an opportunity to touch everybody in the world of boxing. That's an opportunity to get to and talk to or to fight against the globe. And I would want to see that. And people got opinions. People got other qualms and stuff. And it's leading to everybody discussing this cat. They're asking questions, but they're asking questions under the guise of a lot of different emotions, specifically like with Shannon Sharp, because now we got to see Shannon Sharp going at Shakur directly after this signing, because now he just had an interview with him, and they're going back and forth with each other, and they're getting hot and angry at each other. And I'll let him tell you for himself. And I say this for a good reason. Let me go and play it right now for you. No, that's the wrong thing. There we go. Let me go on and play it right now for you all to witness and see. Right here. Let me turn this down a little bit because it might be a little bit loud to pick it out. It'd be going. This is just a quick segment. But I'm playing this clip for a reason, not just because it's somewhat it's funny. But I'm playing this for a reason because this is saying a lot about Shakur and right now what's going on with him as a big-time star.
You're not the smartest boxer.
I'm not the smartest boxer. I'm a way smarter boxer than your favorite fighter.
You don't know who my favorite fighter is.
I don't have to know.
You're not the smartest boxer.
I'm not the smartest boxer.
So again, I play this because you were saying I don't care how you feel. I'm smarter than your favorite fighter. You don't know who my favorite fighter is. It don't matter. I'm still smarter. And so, but this deal is causing this type of essentially national acclaim. This is huge because now Shannon Sharp, with all due respect, he's a fan of the sport. He don't know the sport like that, but he's a big enough entity that, boom, I can go and talk about it. Yeah, he did interviews with Clifford Shields, did interviews with Terrence Crawford, but this type of platform is now with Zuffa under the banner where everybody cares. And he's going to get thrust in the face of everybody out here. More than ever. More than ever. I guarantee you. I promise you. Especially since, and again, this isn't just a one-time thing. They had a whole I can't play the whole clip, but they had a whole 5-minute clip of Shakur and Shannon Sharp. I mean, just going at each other as if it's a straight-up fight. At that point, debating, arguing, getting hot and upset. This is entertaining, absolutely. But this is also good because of what this deal now brings is exactly what Shakur asked for. Make me the name that everybody can't live without. That's where we at right now. It's an insane thing. This could work out in the best favor. Let me see. Burr, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on the show. We appreciate you on the live. In fact, I might just play at least a minute of that 5-minute clip because they be going at it, and there's also some stuff we can debate about that clip. But let me see. Burr, how you doing? Good to see you. Welch, I know you saw Boots hurt Virgil. I said, well, I know you saw Boots hurt Virgil by KO. Hey, look, hey, brother, hey, man, you about. No, I ain't clapping for that, brother. You a week late. Brother, you a week late, man. We've been talked about that. I'm kidding. I'm messing. Like I said, we saw the championship rounds. But yeah, but real quick, Boots. You're about a week late, son. But again, just jokes. Virgil can hurt Boots now. We got that about confirmed. And we want to see that fight more than ever. More importantly, that fight, if we actually, we're switching gears everywhere because we're just kind of rolling. There has been some talks now. Like we covered yesterday, Boots and Ennis looks to be a potential fight that's going to be signed in the future. If it's not Josh Kelly as the next fight out, Boots Ennis and Oscar De La Hoya, who initially we were saying didn't want that fight to happen, now are actually looking to say they almost got a deal finalized. Who's right? Who's wrong? We're going to find out in the next coming months. But just know, if we want to get that answered, we might just get it answered in a little bit. So I'm excited for it. No question about it. MS, also, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on the show. Salute to you and everybody in the chat. We appreciate you being on the live stream today. It is still the championship rounds of this show like we've been covering with the news of Shakur and Zuffa, but also just other things in the world of boxing. Fights that could potentially happen. Matchups that can occur, who may jump ship and follow Shakur's footsteps. All of that we've been discussing here on the show today, and we want to keep hearing your thoughts and opinions. We want to keep having you as a voice in this community, and I can't wait to hear what you had to say. And please keep on liking the stream if you would. One like makes a world of difference to help grow this show and make it incredible and phenomenal for everybody to witness and enjoy it and be a part of this community. We would appreciate it oh so much if you would continue to invest in our humble abode of a community. But let me keep on reading your chats and responses. Is he officially at 147 since they don't do 140? Maybe. Now, I would think they would implement the 140-pound division because he's still champion, double champion at 140. I don't think Shakur wants to necessarily give up his belts because there's no division there. They may just, and because of that, I would assume, especially with what we assume is a big amount of money and a big amount of power that Shakur has, like we said before, they're going to make some capitulations. They're going to make some changes. Things are going to look differently in potentially next coming months in regards to Devin Haney and his boxing career. Let me see. Things must be really bad outside of Zuffa for the world's pound-for-pound star fighter to sign at this point in time. Is Boots next? Now, I don't think Boots is next. If Boots all of a sudden gets up and says, I'm signing, that would be insane. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the relationship between Boots and Eddie Hearn is good. Eddie Hearn said he was going to make stuff happen. Eddie Hearn said, if you get under my ring, we're going to get you titles. We're going to get you opportunities. We're going to advocate to actually get you what you want. And to this point, he's followed through. So I don't think he's going to leave this type of partnership with Eddie Hearn right now. If it sours, though, the door is absolutely open. That's the biggest thing. The door is open. I don't think Boots is next, but I do think it is now a possibility if things go sour in any kind of way. And to have Boots or have Shakur sign right after every promotion signed under the zone, where the biggest thing we've been advocating for, we want stuff to be easy on all sides of the street. And now everybody is literally in the same neighborhood. where that wasn't the case before. This is, it seemed like it was a match made in heaven. We can get any fight that we want. Any fight with any name, any unification. There's no big debates that needs to happen because we're literally all under the same HOA. Everybody's under the zone, no matter how much you want to try to finagle yourself. So it seemed like this was the perfect time to get Devin Haney versus Shakur. It could happen under any promotion at that point because there's no ill will, or well, not ill will. There's no stringent animosity because we're literally all under the same umbrella. Everybody's huddled up in the same place. Some people may call this a duck because we finally got what we as fans have been asking for a number of years. And now when everybody's ready to fight everybody, you then go and say, you know what, I'm going to do something different. Some people are going to call that a duck. It's already going around on social media. Go check the very announcements that they had of Shakur under Zuffa. This is a duck. This brother trying to avoid Haney. This cat don't want no smoke. This brother, after T.O., no, he doesn't want no more challenges. You're seeing that rhetoric. Whether it's right or wrong, I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just telling you, that's what this is looking like to some people. That is the real perception and animosity that some people are having against Shakur for signing with Zuffa after years of them saying this brother, or the only reason why we're not getting these fights, y'all just ain't together. And now y'all are together, and now you want to leave the house when it seems like there's no good reason? When we literally have everything we want right here? Why? Unless you just don't want that smoke. I'm not saying that is what's going down. I am saying that's what people will try to say because they just want the fights. They care less about the money. They can care less about the other side of the spectrum. They just want to work. They just want to work. So I guarantee you, those conversations are coming. Let me see. It's all jokes. But in all seriousness, we need to talk about it. No, we do. And you've been a busy man. It's all good. We understand that you're busy. We everybody's got lives. We completely understand. We're just simply having fun and enjoying life. It's either the belts or Virgil, but everyone has a fight lined up right now, so Virgil is the only option. He can't take any more tune-ups either unless he takes a mandatory fight with Madrimov. Yeah, I can see them taking that route. And when it comes to, well, again, switching gears now, because now we're just talking about the greater landscape of the boxing world outside of Zuffa and Shakur. With Virgil Ortiz, yeah, you're right. It does need to be something has to happen. It does. Excuse me. Because everybody else say people are already in talks with something. Stuff is going, especially after the whole fiasco with trying to get out of the contract and doing all that stuff. Now, Kelly and Boots might have something going on. Fundora got something going on, but he's still saying, I do want Boots if I can get him. Everybody's still calling out Boots' name, but everybody is still also getting a fight done. Outside of Bakram may even have a fight going down. If I could be wrong, but he might have a fight going down. But every major player has something either getting lined up or already lined up in the immediate, except for Virgil Ortiz. And this is where, yeah, he's got to make something shake. And again, if we want to play, I'll play the clip again from yesterday with De La Hoya talking about what can or cannot happen. Hold on, not now, De La Hoya. Hold on, wait a minute. I'll play this real quick just to give you a refresher as to what he has lined up. But you're right. Something does have to happen with Virgil Ortiz because now he's in a position where there's no more leeway per se that most fans are going to give him anymore for not making fights happen in certain regards. And here, I'll play it right now.
To business. August 1st.
Okay, y'all can't see it. Okay.
We have William Cepeda.
Here we go. Okay.
But back to business August 1st. My gosh, we have William Cepeda versus Lamont Roach. Murataya on the undercard, as well as Raul Curiel, who's fighting in Las Vegas. Working on Verge Ortiz versus Boots. Verge Ortiz wants the fight. Let's make that happen. It all depends on Boots. Working on Ryan Garcia versus Ben. I just got the memo today. So that's the fight that everybody wants to see. So I'm going to make it happen for you guys. Also, Kid Austin versus Badi, fighting for the full world title because Gervonta Davis is on recess, champion on recess. And also Oscar Collazo versus Ricardo Sandoval. Oscar moving 2 weight classes to fight for Ricardo's belt.
So I explained the whole clip in full, just to give you the full scope of what De La Hoya was saying. But as you can see, one of the biggest portions focused on, he wants to fight Boots. Ortiz wants to fight Boots. Ortiz said he wants to fight. They're just waiting on Boots to actually say something. Now, that point in time, we've heard the story before. Ooh-wee. Will it take place? We don't know. We hope, well, hopefully, we actually get it going down. But let me keep on reading you all's chest. Murtai versus Lamont is the fight to make for that ring belt. At, you know what? That's not bad. That's not bad. Now, I do also, just to have a question, just to ask the question. Lamont Roach's last 2 fights have been a draw. Should he get that opportunity to fight Murataya for his title and the magazine belt, even though he hasn't technically won any of his last 2 fights? And you look at others in the division, potentially if Schofield beats Body after becoming champ, wouldn't that be a fight that would make more career-wise the natural flow? You won, got a title, now you can unify, but you're coming off of 2 victories. One against Terrell Farmer, then one against Body for the actual first world title. That's my only thing. That's my only thing. The fight itself can be great. I'm assuming Lamont Roach can come back down to 135 just fine. I'm assuming. And I would love to see the fight, no question. It's just the fact, having 2 draws instead of a draw and even a win, would that affect the likelihood of this fight happening? If somebody else comes and says, you know what, I want this shot too. Maybe. Now again, I would love to see it. If it happens, so be it. That's my only. That's my only thing. But yeah, I'm down for the fight. I'm absolutely down for the fight. Let me see. Murtai versus Lamont. It's a great. It is a great matchup. It is a great matchup. I'm just simply bringing up the 2 draws. Maybe a problem for some people, and now you get a title shot after that. That's my only thing. Everything else, so the fight itself, it can be spectacular. It can be absolutely spectacular. If he wins the WBC title, yes, they both got belts, and Murtai is ranked number 2, and Lamont Roach has been campaigning at 135 for a while. In all honesty, I don't consider Zepeda elite. I think he gets him out of there. I don't. Why is everybody saying Lamont Roach is gonna knock out William Zepeda? I don't think he's that type of power puncher. I definitely see a decision, without a doubt. I don't think we're gonna see him knock him out. Zepeda's incredibly tough. He is. It's maybe just me. It's hard for me to see Lamont Roach just straight up spark and put him to sleep. It's hard for me to think that, man. That is a big task. That's a big task to put on the table because of the amount of toughness. I do think he'll win, though. I do think he'll win. It's just like, good gosh, my word. It's a, ooh, if Lamont Roach knocked out William Zepeda, that would be hugely significant. Not because the fighter itself is so elite. Because again, I'm with you. I don't think he's an elite guy. He's an elite stamina machine. Absolutely, he's a great volume puncher. I just don't think he's that much. he's good. He is. And deserves respect. Absolutely. I'm just not putting him on as high of a pedestal of elite caliber. Not nearly. But he is a good fighter. But if he is, I know he is hard to knock out. And if Lamont Roach knocks him out, and somebody I've respected as a, as a fighter, and I'm not saying he ain't got good power, but I don't think he's got enough power to put him out. If he does that, that'll show me something special. That'll show me something special. Absolutely. Let me see. What do you think Zepeda has to offer? Zepeda has to offer. It's a similar thing that Isaac Cruz offer. If you're talking about in ring, what he has to offer, he's got to offer some of the same stuff that Isaac Cruz offered to Lamont, but with more height, more length, and a better gas tank, relentless pressure, and ability to swarm and fight at close range. Not thudding power that's going to knock, and he ain't got power that's going to knock Lamont Roach across the ring like we saw with Isaac Cruz, or dig down deep to the body in the same way, but he does have the consistency of, I'm not going to let you breathe. Shakur Stevenson beat him up and deserved to win that fight without a doubt. That doesn't change the fact that Shakur Stevenson also got pushed to the ropes with the pressure of Williams Zepeda. Now, he operated fine. He didn't phase him. He went through and still caught him, hurt him, or at least caught him, bruised him, kept on countering him, and made it look as easy as pie. No issue whatsoever. Absolutely. But he still got pressure to where he got put, though he fights on the back foot, Zepeda was able to still get him. This is where I want you to be. In the corner, on the ropes, standing still, let me do my work. It just didn't work because Shakur is that good. That is what Lamont can do. And William Zepeda may be better or have an easier time cutting off the ring than Isaac Cruz. And notice when Lamont started really boxing and moving and using his legs, similar to El Rayo, we've seen Isaac Cruz have some trouble. He even tried to start boxing himself, which is something I've never seen him do. In terms of Isaac Cruz, when Lamont Roach started actually getting the upper hand, starting to go and tag him with shots and move and make him harder to hit. Zepeda is going to have an easier time keeping that, if anybody played Madden, when it was Madden, was it 04, 05, I think also 06, going into 08, you had division code. Division code in Madden for a QB, you had to go, use your right stick, flick it, and you could go and switch your quarterback to see a different receiver. And that's how you got the most accurate throws. And if you weren't looking at the receiver and you threw it at him, it might be a more likely scenario. You overthrow the ball, or you get a disgusting interception because you're not looking at him. Peyton Manning had a cone that covered the entire field, while somebody that wasn't as good of a QB would have a cone the size of a microscope. The ability to see all and track where you want to go. Zepeda might have an easier time with a wider cone to go and keep Lamont where he wants him to be. Do I think it's going to still work out successfully? No. But I do think with that stamina and the volume of I'm just not going to stop, and the easier ability to go and cut off angles, if Lamont Roach tries to do the same thing, it could be a more, it could be the same type of task that he had against Isaac Cruz, just with a little bit more agitation due to the better physical advantages that William Zepeda has. And again, unlike Isaac Cruz, he won't gas out by throwing a bunch of power punches by the time round 9, 10, 11 comes around. Like we saw Isaac Cruz. That's my thing. He still loses. He still loses in my opinion. But that's how I see that fight going if we want to say what he has to offer. Let me see. Don't let Lamont stop Zepeda, and even worse, don't let Lamont get another draw. if hey, look, if he gets another draw, if he gets another draw, we would like that. People would really be asking, how good is Lamont Roach? If he got a draw against Zepeda, a draw against Isaac Cruz, and a draw against Tank, how good is he? Is he just good enough that you can never outmatch him? Like, he's got to a point in his career, he can elevate his game right to where you are, but never go above it, but you can never go above his skill level? Is it like that? He's the ultimate matchmaker because he's literally, you never put him in a fight that he'll be outmatched in? It might just be. It might just be that. It might just be that. It could just be that. He's the perfect fight for anybody to make because there is literally nobody that can fight above his level, and there's nobody that Lamont can fight that he won't match. This brother, you put him against anybody, this brother might give you a pound for pound level performance. I'm telling you. Like, hey, look, you know what? At this point, at this point, and it's gonna sound wild. I can't even, hold on. I can't even keep a straight face saying this. Hold on. Let me compose myself when I say this. It's about to be out of pocket. At this point, if we see Lamont Roach get a draw against Tank, get a draw against Isaac Cruz, and get a draw against William Zepeda, I'm going to be the loudest advocate. Put this brother in the ring with Shakur next. I'm going to say it straight up. Because you know what? Put him in the ring. Put him in the ring with Shakur. Because I'm going to say Shakur can't beat him. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say straight up, if he gets a draw with William Zepeda, I'm going to say put him against Shakur. Because guess what? Shakur can't beat him. I don't care. Because at this point, Lamont is just going to be it'll be an even fight throughout. Shakur will not be able to fight above Lamont Roach because apparently nobody can right now. He's so good, he matches everybody. But he's not good enough to get better than you. But you can't get better than him. And he's like, he's the Salvador Sanchez of our time. He'll fight to the level of competition that he's facing off against. He'll just never be better than him. But doggone it, you'll get a classic. You'll get a controversial fight. We'll be questioning everybody. At this point, you can put him against anybody at this point. And I may just say this cat, he won't lose. He won't win. But he showed up won't lose the fight. What's his record right now? Lamont, what's Lamont Roach? Let me see. Lamont Roach, what's his record? His record right now. What's his record right now? What? This is so stupid. It's so dumb. He's 25-1-3. If you let me guide Lamont Roach's career, I guarantee you, I could get Lamont Roach to 25-10. As in 25 wins, 1 loss, 10 draws. Because I'll put him up against the best pound-pound fighters at this point in time in his division. I'll put him up against Devin Haney. I'll put him up against Shakur. I'll put him up against anybody. I'll put him up against Tank again. Put him up against Mason. Put him up against Murray. And I guarantee you, every single one of those fights, they'll end in a draw. He will have successfully fought every single big name in multiple divisions and also never lost to any of them. Never won. But guess what? I don't think it would matter because everybody would be saying, you can't beat this cat. The person that does beat him, next thing you know, give him a shot. The next person that beats Lamont Roach, give him a shot at the title. Because apparently right now, this cat, you just cannot get better than him. With the way his career is going. Especially if he draws against the Preda. This would be ridiculous. This would be, again, it's stupid. It's absolutely laughable. It's just... It's hilarious, though. I'm not going to lie. It's hilarious. If we do see that happen. Let me see. Another good fight, Andy Cruz versus Lamont. Cruz is the silver interim champion for the WBC, so that fight might happen as well. I see Murataya versus Cruz, also that fight. Oh, Murataya versus Cruz too. Also, that fight would be good. Let me think. Andy Cruz versus Lamont would be a very... No, I ain't really thought of that fight. I had not really thought of that fight, in all honesty. I hadn't. Because Ooh. Now, that'll test Lamont's feet more than any other opponent he can face off against right now. If he fought against Andy Cruz. If we saw the same Andy Cruz that fought against Murataya, that would be an intriguing fight. It wouldn't be as exciting as Murataya. I don't think it would be as exciting of a fight as Murataya from an action perspective, but it definitely would show us really how good of a skill for skill perspective, or from a skill for skill perspective, would Lamont Roach be. Because you're going to need a bunch of bags of tricks to take out and beat Andy Cruz. Because even that Andy Cruz that lost to Murataya, that Andy Cruz at 135, that version still gives anybody a whole mess of trouble. But I would like to see it. Again, if me personally, even though Murataya versus Cruz could be a fight I would like to see, I don't know if Murataya is going to be gunning for Cruz initially. I would assume Murataya versus Roach would still be the most likely thing that would happen, and that's the fight I would want to see more than anything else right now. If I was to go through and, match make for the future. Let me see. Now, Lamont beat Tank for sure. Like I said, I think he did, especially that knockdown was counted. That's why I still want to see the rematch. If anything, if we could see that rematch, it might be going back to Zuffa. Might be that's the best way to actually get that rematch to happen. If we have Zuffa throw a boatload of money at Tank to come over here, and then boom, you actually are able to go and negotiate with other people. Now you go and negotiate with PBC, whoever the world Lamont Roach is involved with. We finally get that rematch. Everybody's happy, everybody's excited, and everybody can go home and sleep at night because they got what they wanted. Which, for me, I would love to see. I'm just trying to see. Hold on, well, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm sorry. I saw something with Shannon Sharp, and I thought something was going down right now. But I thought, okay, never mind. I thought it would still be. I'm sorry. I'm scrolling through social media as I'm talking, and I'm thinking there's some more stuff going down with Shannon Sharp and Shakur. Also, we just got some word that LeBron James, him signing with Cleveland, may be at this point a done deal. And see, per Brian Windhorst, I'm hearing stuff in other cities too. I'm not going to say who, but I had somebody on the phone with me today that I consider a good source who is promising it's a done deal in... Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a second. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Like I said, we're a multifaceted show. We're in the championship rounds, and we're talking about more boxing and beyond. And we're keeping up to date with stuff that's going on right now. Per Brian Windhorst, we just got word. Hearing that LeBron James signing with another team other than Cleveland is now officially a done deal. Quoting Brian Windhorst, I'm hearing stuff in other cities too. I'm not going to say who, but I had somebody on the phone with me today that I consider a good source who has been swearing or promising it's a done deal in another city that he is not signing with Cleveland. I added that last part, but again, that's essentially what he's saying. If this is true, the rumor is still going to swirl as to who. But I'm just it's oh boy, oh buddy, woo, woo, woo. That's gonna who could it be? I do hope it is Miami, or I don't want it to be Golden State, but it might just be Golden State at the end of the day. But I digress from there. I'm still going through it. There was some quote I wanted to see about back to the boxing where there was some quote I wanted to see about Fundora fighting against Boots. So I'm trying to find as well. If I can't find it, then we'll just let it go and let it be for the time being. But in any situation, we are in the midst of a very dramatic cycle in the world of sports, boxing and beyond. I'm telling you, there is a big shift happening right now in sports, Zuffa and otherwise. Zuffa being the biggest catalyst of there's something in the air, something going down, something's going on. Whether it's with Boots and his career trajectory as it's now look like it's fully guns blazing, whether it's Zuffa getting a level of power and respect that we never expected it to have in its entire life cycle, whether it is, again, LeBron leaving in Cleveland, Conor McGregor coming back in the UFC, and all of a sudden everybody's actually going through and getting excited for a LeBron that we thought would, or for a Conor McGregor that we thought most likely we'd never see again. Something shifted. Something shifted. Something's changing. Something's happening. There's a probability that there's about to be a landscape shift in the makeup of the way sports operates. In a good way. Some ways in a bad way. But in any type of way, a change is afoot. And with Zuffa specifically, especially with one of the questions being that we had earlier, Boots Ennis, would he want to sign over there? That shift can go and touch his career. Because there's a world that, yes, he could. For real. We said Eddie Hearn and stuff, good graces, everything's going good. You wouldn't want to leave that. Fine. Absolutely. However, let's say Boots falls into the same trap that we've seen others fall into, where they get big, they get popular, they get their status as a fighter, and then they're going to go on their own. It happened with Tank. It happened with Floyd. It happened with Canelo. It's happened with every major star that has reached that zenith of possibility. With nearly every major star. When it comes to the pinnacle of this sport. I'm in control fully. I don't need you anymore. I can operate on my own. With operating on his own, especially if Zuffa is willing to go and make capitulations, Boots Ennis may in the future say if Zuffa keeps on staying with this level of rising in power, he could go. Specifically, if we see them make changes to the way that they operate in reference to this right here. If I can play it. I'm gonna play it muted, but I'm gonna play it. Because it is something that is substantial stuff that needs to be seen. And that is Shakur posing with the attire. Also, real quick, I want to make sure we keep everybody involved. Let me see. I've won. Would like to see Shakur versus Ryo? Yes, please. You know what? I'll say I'm down for it. Initially, I was not very excited for that fight. If it did come to fruition that we get that fight going down, I wasn't. But in light of seeing Shakur or El Rayo beat De Los Santos, maybe that fight would be more exciting than I expected. Just like with what I thought with Isaac Cruz. When Isaac Cruz fought El Rayo, I thought Isaac Cruz was going to knock him out and get him out of there. Out of there quick and in a hurry. Lo and behold, he actually takes it to him. Second half of the fight, outboxes him and beats him and wins the title. Takes the belt from him. Shocked me. I thought De Los Santos was going to knock out El Rayo. Next thing you know, he knocks out De Los Santos in less than 6 rounds, I believe. My gosh. So maybe I'm just underestimating the capacity that this cat has. And this brother might just be able to put on a fight that nobody expected, but my goodness, it's going to be worthwhile. So at this point, anything is possible. And because of that, I got to go and say, hey, it is what it is. Let's make it happen. Let me see. Lamont Roach beats Mason. Really? Hold on now.
Hey, look at this. We got some problems.
Wait a minute.
We got some problems.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Abdullah Mason versus Lamont Roach. Lamont would beat him. Ooh, gosh. I disagree. Now, I disagree because by the time that fight happens, I got Abdullah Mason being significantly better than what we see right now in Mason today, in the Bell fight. I do. I got him significantly better than what we see with the Mason fight, or than what we see with Mason versus Bell. By the time that fight happens with Lamont Roach, if Lamont Roach stays that long at 135, because he could move up, we could stay put. And if we don't get Lamont versus Murataya, and Mason does say, you know what, I want that challenge, and we get, and got to lay off, 11-round fight, I'm gonna take a couple months off. If that happens, boom, I'm gonna take the opportunity. I don't think what we saw with Bell is gonna affect him like it may against Lamont after this. Because every time I see Mason fight, I get to see situations shift and change where he's not getting fazed by the same stuff anymore. There's still some refinement. There's still some stuff that needs to go and, be better, sure. But being able to say, okay, I'm able to say he's not what he was the last time out. In some capacity, I'm able to say. And if that happens, and by the time he fights Lamont Roach again, I don't know if Lamont Roach will be able to beat him. I don't. Because the biggest thing with Tank, he will say that Tank was just too small. I don't think you can say that about Mason. I don't think you can say that about Mason. I think wouldn't Mason be the bigger fighter in this fight? Let's see, Abdullah Mason height. How tall is he? Okay, yeah, he's 5'9". Lamont Roach is, I believe, 5. Was he 5'7", 5'8"? I think. Okay, yeah, he's 5'7". Lamont is 5'7". At this point in time, 140, 135. A little bit stocky. He can get up to about 140. Comfortably, he can get it about 146. Mason, 5'9", defined, incredibly strong, and can get up easily can get up probably to 150. Easily. I don't think that same level of I can just bully you out, fight in the pocket, is going to be able to work the same way. I don't think so. Especially with him wanting to be more inclined with that mid-range game of that's where he's going to want to operate. He's still a phenomenal boxer. I just think if that fight doesn't happen, most likely by next year or early next year, I don't think he's going to be able to beat Mason. If you think he can beat him now, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. A year from now, though, I don't think so. I don't think so. Mason's going to be too physically inclined, coupled with the fact Mason in this fight when the chips went down, he went straight to his bag. I need to go and scrap. He turned this fight around because he was able to scrap. He was. Scrap at range and up close. Now, we've seen Lamont Welch be able to scrap with Tank, which, again, if you can do that against him, you can do it against anybody. But with how quick of a dime we saw Mason be able just to turn this around, and the amount of punishment he was able to dish out and take going up against somebody like Sam Noakes, I would be very interested to see if this just turned into a fight. How would we see Lamont Welch handle this against a tall, aggressive, great interior fighter who can be a great swarmer and brawler when he really needs to turn into that type of mode? Turn it up and flip a switch. Because you can say Tank's too small. Can't say that with Lamont. You can say Isaac Cruz is one-dimensional. You can't say that necessarily with Lamont. Or excuse me, you can't say that with Lamont can't say that with in reference to Mason. You can't. I don't think you can. And when it comes to being able to absorb and dish out punishment, Mason showed against one of the heaviest hitters, I can do both incredibly well, though I'm still so young. It's going to be tough. I don't know if Lamont beats Mason. I don't. And the biggest reason why, and I was trying to make sure I had my thoughts correct. This is why. Isaac Cruz made Lamont Welch. Remember, I had said that fight with Lamont Welch and Isaac Cruz would turn into a straight up inside war. I said that before that fight happened in the ring. We were breaking down that fight. I said that fight is going to be, they're going to be fighting on the inside. It's going to be, you can say he shouldn't. He's going to. Because if you can do it against Tank, Lamont Welch absolutely feels you can do that against anybody. And he tried that against Isaac Cruz. Isaac knocked him down. And the advantage came ultimately when Lamont Welch started to box. But he had to go to a plan B. He could box, absolutely. That's not what he wanted to do in the outside jump. He wanted to go and continue that same momentum of I'm in the pocket and I'm able to go build, or not even build on my offense. I'm just a better inside fighter. Because you ain't got that much power as Tank, and I know I can go in and hit you more cleanly. And it showed early on, it ain't going to be that sweet down there. And I said that. It ain't going to be sweet with Isaac Cruz. And that's exactly what happened. Plan B. Now I'm going to go box. Use my hand speed. Use my feet. And force you to have to circle the ring and find me. Because of that, that's where I don't know if he can beat Mason. Because that's not going to work if you try that against Mason. And if you do try that against Mason, unlike with Isaac Cruz, you may not be able to get yourself out of a fight because of how quickly We can see Mason go and close that distance. And how long Mason is as a fighter, he's not going to have trouble being able to get you back in trouble if you try to escape. Great body work, great body attack, phenomenal pressure, and phenomenal angles to go and keep you in his sights. Yeah, he struggled against Bell with boxing. I guarantee you the next time he fights, he won't struggle like that again. That won't be as big of a weakness in his game as it was the first time when he had to fight Bell. I promise you it won't be. I promise you it won't be. Because as he gets, every time he goes, he fixes a different issue in his arsenal. It was defense at first. He fixed that. It was being able to take a punch and potentially be chinny. He fixed that. Then it was, maybe you're not going to the body enough. He fixed that. And now the question is, well, you got put into a situation, a moving fighter was able to make you struggle. I guarantee you he's going to fix that too the next time he fights. And Mason is going to make it so that Lamont, you won't be able to, if this ain't working and you can't go and get the better of me when you're in that close range area, mid-range area, you're not going to have the capacity to go and just, I'm switching gears, I'm using my feet, boom, boom, boom. Because now it worked against Bell, it worked against Isak, it's going to work against you because that's a problem. That's not going to be a problem anymore. Ain't going to be a problem anymore. It will not be a problem anymore. I'm almost assured. So I don't think he's going to be able to beat him. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. If he does, that'd be a huge win. But I don't think he's going to be able to do that. I really don't. And if he did, that'd be incredibly impressive. But my gosh, it'd be, whoo. I'd be shocked. I'm not going to lie. I would be shocked. And I know he's incredible. I know he is impressive. I'm just saying, oh gosh. I will legitimately be surprised if he beat him. Because I think Mason's going to turn into that good of a fighter, at least to me. But we're going to make sure we want to make sure that we don't bore the audience and make sure we get out here at a decent time. We're going to go into the last call for the world of the championship rounds. We still want to hear from you in all regards of boxing and beyond. If you have anything to say, you can bring it up right now for the public to witness and see. And go and discuss and bring your questions, comments, concerns, and debates. But if not, we're going to wrap it up and send it home and get on out of here with anything else that you want to say. If you haven't, I'm fine with seeing it. One last thing that we will say before we get out of here when it comes to the last thing with Zuffa as a whole. This right here, specifically this attire, I'm assuring you, might be a problem for Shakur that Zuffa may have to change because of the hands of Shakur. And this is where the making capitulations, that's going to have to take place for Zuffa. Because I promise you, Shakur's going to want to wear his own stuff. He's going to want to wear his own attire. And he's going to want to wear his own gloves. And Zuffa branded gloves, if they ain't up to Shakur's necessary support to protect his hands, which have always been a problem throughout his entire career, he's not going to want to fight him. I promise you. And if he doesn't want to fight in these, most likely he ain't going to want to wear these shorts either, or shoes either. And it's important not because of the attire. This is a part of Shakur's going to try to make some rules, and if he breaks them, other fighters are going to want to break them. He might have to break them so his boxing career can continue. Because he's got sets of gloves he wants to wear because of his own protection. Because he needs to make sure his hands are still able to last. But once he gets one leeway of leverage, he's going to want to change everything else. And I promise you, it's going to lead into Zuffa brand is not going to be the brand that he's going to be rocking. Or at least not in this same plaid, uneventful identity stripping attire. Because again, he's too big of a star for that. And Zuffa as a whole wants to have this type of attire to make it so that you don't identify with fighters as just the brand themselves, but you identify with fighters as the brand itself. They are not the product. Zuffa is the product. You just have to be fighting under our umbrella. That's why you used to have people that used to wear what it was George St. Pierre or other fighters that will wear specific things, specific attire, specific garb when they would walk to the ring, trunks and all, advertisements and all that were strictly self-identifying. They went and stripped that away to make it so that everybody wasn't an individual. So you couldn't make money as your own personnel. You are a UFC fighter and your identity is us, not our identity is you. That's what this situation is. Shakur for his hands is going to change the gloves, but it's also subsequently going to want to change everything else. Because I guarantee you, he does not want to be tied to, I am strictly, Zuffa owns me. He's not going to want to have that. And if he isn't, other fighters are even looking to sign with Zuffa also. They're not going to want that either. And if he can change this mold, everybody else in Zuffa is going to want to change as well. And that's going to affect negatively the real identity that Zuffa wants to have, where their brand is the only brand that you think of. And you take away the individuality of a fighter and you make everybody just a name. Zuffa. And nobody has their own identity. Shakur with this deal has the opportunity to force Zuffa to change that in order to keep him happy. And he can make it so that he ensures that other fighters that sign with him get some more power. So Zuffa's going to have to play a fine line with this, because if they don't, they can lose him. He starts bad mouth and bad talking this company. He knows he can go sign with other people and be just fine. Zuffa cannot afford to lose him. Shakur can afford to lose Zuffa. It's not the other way around. So watch how this cat and mouse game of who is allowed to do what and who bends the knee to who. Watch how this takes place. Because it's going to be something. If it does happen, it's going to be significant. It's going to be very significant indeed. Mark my words. Mark my words indeed. But with all that being said, we're going to wrap the show up, send it home, and get on out of here. We don't want to leave you all too long. We want you all to be able to enjoy your afternoon. It's almost 5 o'clock, and we're almost at the 3-hour mark, so we got to make sure that we end this show beforehand. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get out of here and wrap this show up and send it home. So with all of that being said, this has been another episode of The Welch Report with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of our show and joining us on this Friday afternoon. We thank you to everybody who chatted and responded and added to this show as we reacted to all the news that's happening in the world of boxing and beyond on this Friday edition. Thank you so much for tuning in. We thank you so much for listening. If you would, leave a like on the stream before you leave, as it helps us to go and grow this channel immensely. Hit the hype button at the end of the stream to help us go and get even higher ranked in the algorithm of the sports landscape and the YouTube ethos as a whole. We're available on Apple, Spotify, and every podcasting platform imaginable, so you can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts, at your job, on your work, in your house, with your boss, wherever you may be. We want you to be able to know where you can listen to us anywhere, at any time, with anybody, all to go and enjoy the show wherever you may be. Please, if you would, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, come on and join the empire. Be a part of the hottest show in all of the globe right here on YouTube. Hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post on this channel, so you can keep up to date with everything that we got going on in the world of the sports media landscape. And please be sure, if you want to support this channel one last time, we have Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, Super Chat, Super Gift, stickers, and the like. If you can afford to help monetize or help you fund this show with alms to the empire, it would mean the world to me, helps me to pay the bills, and helps us to go and edify this show and invest back into this show to make it more entertaining for you to witness and enjoy. And we appreciate you all being with us on this Friday afternoon. I've been Jean-Luc Welch. You all have been absolutely wonderful. We're going to be back next week for more talks in the world of boxing and beyond, covering the world of sports and everything else under the sun. Be safe, be blessed, peace, and love. Oh, we are out of here. Yes, sir. We are going to salute to you. We're going to see you all next week. Have a great weekend. Have a great rest of your day. And we are out of here.